Hello, hello, welcome, welcome. Let me grab this before there it is. How is everyone doing? Let's make sure all the things are set in place. Okay. Oh. This, I purposely am checking this, and for some reason, there. There. Okay, now my audio. For some reason, so every time, I have a program update, various things change, and for some reason after my update with Ecamm, it defaults. Is it still fucking doing it? It defaults to having both my Yeti mic and my my computer, my Mac mic, going simultaneously, which is why last week everybody was like, "Oh, you're so quiet." Well, it turns out I was quiet because it was taking my audio at two mics simultaneously, and thus each one was cut 50%. Man, oh man. Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, the music plays twice because I usually have a window open of the live YouTube at the same time, and then I've got to like pause it really quick after the delay. So I wanted to briefly talk about Ice and Fire, and people don't talk about it very much. They talked about it some when the World of Ice and Fire came out, but and maybe it's because it doesn't have anything to do with the plot and it's a random setting thing, but it's rather clear that the past of Westeros was technologically advanced compared to the present. And you can argue about why. Like maybe they had better science, maybe they had better magic, but it's undeniable that in the past they could do things that they can't do today or in the contemporary story. Clearly, the characters in the story today cannot build the wall. That is just something beyond their technological slash magical capabilities. The wall just can't be built. Storm's End is another example of something they just can't build anymore. When you hear descriptions of Storm's End, they talk about this smooth stone that sounds a bit like cement, but nonetheless, they're incapable of making that today. And there's a whole bunch of these things. And for instance, like the sand ship. People hardly ever talk about the sand ship but there's this massive ship thing, stone thing, that's so large that bits of the city, like a whole section of the city, the Shadow City, is underneath the sand ship, like sticking out. Something as large, like the sand ship sounds like it's as large as a aircraft carrier of some sort, and it smashes and into the ground, and they talk about how it's this massive ship, and it just everybody lives underneath it. People don't talk about it very much, but yeah, that doesn't fit. They can't possibly build something like that ever again. Sand ship, why don't I remember that? Yeah, I mean, look up the Dorne chapters. It's the Shadow City, the sand ship. There's this enormous ship that's crashed into the ground. Nothing else is around it, and that's where Sunspear is built. And related to the sand ship, there's discussions among fans that perhaps the Naga's ribs, rather than just being weirwoods, are actually beams for a giant ship as well. Like if you are if you've ever seen a ship constructed, let's see. I'm trying to pull out a good photo here, one that really But the idea is that, if you've ever seen a ship constructed or a ship in ruins, they have these beams that go along, and that perhaps Naga's ribs, rather than being ribs, are actually beams of an old ship, and things like this. Not to mention, you of course have the walls of Qarth. The big things about the walls of Qarth, and maybe I'll read the passage here because it's rather important. Where's my walls of Qarth? Do I have to look this up again? But let's see here. Three thick walls encircled Qarth, elaborately carved. The outer was red sandstone, 30 feet high and decorated with animals. Snakes slithering, kites flying, fish swimming, intermingled with wolves of the red waste and striped zorses and monstrous elephants. The middle wall, 40 feet high, was gray granite alive with scenes of war, the clash of swords and shields and spears, arrows in flight, heroes in battle, and babes being butchered, piles of the dead. The innermost was of 50 feet and black marble with carvings that made Dany blush until she told herself she was being a fool. She was no maid. Now, it's important to remember this sort of thing. You've got sandstone on the outside with nature. Then you have granite in the middle with war, and then you have marble on the inside with sex scenes. And at first, if you're not being careful, you'd be like, oh, this represents like Qarth's history. Like there used to be life in the red waste, and there was nature, and then the life went away, and there was war, and then they went beyond that and became this luxurious trade city. Except that's not how walls work. You don't build inward with walls. That's impossible. You'd be destroying the entire city, to build another layer of walls inward rather than just building them outward. So clearly we're being tricked here in that the innermost walls, the ones that are made of marble are the oldest, and the granite walls are next, and the sandstone walls are the youngest walls of the three. So we're talking about this advanced society of Qarth first that descended, not the reverse of advancing up to where they are. Now, some people have pointed out like Qarth doesn't make any sense. Like you wouldn't find granite and sandstone in the same location. Like geologists are like, why would any city have both sandstone and granite? That's stupid. Like they don't exist in the same place. And it's like, I understand, but like, I'm going to say that George doesn't understand geology but history wise, we tend to think of, really old cities having sandstone walls and things like this. This is the trick he's doing. But the point is, all around the world, we have lots of evidence that society has descended into a Middle Ages environment. And the World of Ice and Fire doubles down on this. World of Ice and Fire talks about like the old ones and black oily stones. Like it's very difficult to find anyone who would argue that it was not advanced in the past. It's once you look at all the evidence, it's irrefutable, especially the fucking wall exists, like Storm's End exists. Like that's just there. But then there's the question of like, where does this come from? Why? What does it mean? Now, where it comes from is that George writes a lot of stories, like has written a lot of stories about societies degrading and going into an interregnum. It may be close to a quarter of the stories he's ever written kind of function on this theme. The entire Thousand Worlds universe functions on this, the idea that there was this incredible empire The human empire was incredible, and then it fell, and there's an interregnum period, and they're now coming out of the interregnum period and discovering each other again. That's the whole Thousand Worlds universe exists in this idea that the past was advanced, and now we're not so advanced anymore. But you can take it to, it's the plot of In the House of the Worm. It's kind of the plot of Seven Times Never Kill Man. Like, you can eventually read between the lines and realize that the Janshi used to be an advanced race and then went primitive. What else? There's all the post-apocalyptic stuff that he writes, whether it be For a Single Yesterday or Under Siege or anything like that. Like, all of those are, the past was more advanced and now we've descended. And so that's all fine. We can all accept that as fact, but does it matter? Like, is there going to be a point in the story, or did George ever plan this, that people would discover that the past was really advanced and find out how the wall was built and why the seasons are out of whack and what advanced technology led to that, or advanced magic if you want. The magic is gone anyway. It doesn't matter. Does it matter? And I don't know. I can't say. Like, he has stories like In the House of the Worm where it's very relevant and very important, the past. Annelin goes down, discovers the truth about the world he's in, realizes that they need to make peace with the grounds, the enemy group, understanding their common past. It's essential to the story. But you could argue that something like Tough Voyaging, where he's in an advanced ship that he can, tough, as smart as he is, does not know how to make another ship like that. Is it relevant that, he come to terms with this like past technology? It's, in that case, the past technology is just a mechanism for making him godlike in the universe. And Seven Times Never Kill Man, like, even though it's hinted at, and you kind of come to understand that if you read between the lines, like, is that really even the point of the story? The point of the story is more about the Steel Angels and their expansionism and their religious zealotry and how it brings about their own destruction. It's not like the Janshi being an advanced race that was made to be primitive by the pyramids is not really relevant to the plot. It's just window dressing. And so that's the big question, is like, is the window dressing, like Dragon and Bands brings up like the Lovecraft kind of stuff too. Like, is it even relevant that this like past technology existed, or is it just there to give us atmosphere, creepiness, like extra weirdness? Is there a point, like, at story's end, do you think we're going to find out who built the wall and how, and why the seasons are out of whack? That wasn't covered in the show at all. Like, we kind of vaguely find out that the others are created by the Children of the Forest, but like, it's not really that important to know that. Bran discovers this information, but it wasn't important in defeating them. It wasn't important, in the resolution of the story. We never found out why the seasons are out of whack. And so that, it's one of those questions that I kind of pose to people, like, because we are repeatedly hit over the head many, many times that the past was advanced and there's something wrong. There's something wrong with history. The Andal invasion, the wall, all of these things are off. The Night Fort. Jamie brings up towers being the wrong type of towers and all this kind of stuff. Like, we're over and over beat over the head with the fact that, like, the history is wrong. Our understanding of the world is wrong. What's going on? And why have they been in the Middle Ages for fucking millennia? Is that just, I mean, I suppose Lord of the Rings, they're in the Middle Ages for millennia, with no explanation. Like, it does there need to be an explanation on like why they remain in the Middle Ages for so long? Like, why is there no technological advancement? Are they being kept back by by the trees, by like the pyramids and Seven Times Never Killed Man? If that's the case, why are the free cities not that advanced? I mean, they're a little more advanced than Westeros, but what's the idea? So, I don't know if I necessarily have faith that it's like that George had a master plan on the setting and that the setting was going to come back into the plot, versus he created this world with lots and lots of world building and weird intricacies that he's never going to explain, and that his story is just taking place in that universe, that the story is as simple as nothing beats a great story. Like, it's that. Like, I don't know. I bring up Thundar the Barbarian a lot. Thundar the Barbarian was a show that I watched when I was young, and it takes place on this world of post-apocalyptic. And I don't remember them ever discussing, oh no, you know what? I think in the opening crawl, it's a comet like breaks their moon apart or something and causes massive destruction. So there was an explanation in that. So Thundar even did it. So I don't know. We will see. I'm not sure if anybody has any ideas on things, or if they disagree. The world is not an interregnum, even though that's every fucking George story. But finally read The Fortress / Under Siege. So he's saying The Fortress / Under Siege is George originally wrote a story called The Fortress, which was a historical fiction story dealing with Finland and Russia, and he eventually took that story and then made it into a sci-fi story where someone is sending their consciousness back in time, resting a body. Like, essentially, he's got this noseless dwarf that acts just like Tyrion. He's drunk. He's hopelessly heartbroken. He's plays chess. He sends his consciousness back in time and he wrests the body from somebody. He Hodors somebody in the past. And that's the plot. I think George has outgrown the trope of the outcast doing bad things because a lady fell for another man, who's on the Mount Rushmore of George's freaky little scorned men. No, I don't think. Of course not. Of course, George has never outgrown that trope. I mean, that's what Tyrion does in Ice and Fire. I mean, but the outcast, I mean, it's funny because the outcast in Under Siege is a much better human being than Tyrion. Like, he goes back in time to save, I mean, he does save the world. He does prevent, from what we're led to believe, he prevents the nuclear apocalypse. And yes, everybody in the future is blinked out of existence. They were all willing to do that. They all wanted to be blinked out of existence to save the world. So, like Tyrion in that story, like, he doesn't really do anything bad. Like, he's heartbroken that the girl he likes is banging some other dude on their last night of existence. But Tyrion's much worse. But I get it. There is like this dark, like, scorned thing. Well, I'm just going to stay in the past then. Okay, go for it, dude. And then they kind of have the out. Like, I understand he Hodor is a dude, but then the guy is okay with their two consciousnesses blending together. Like, he's okay with being pear-shaped man. Um, not to get too. Trey would love that my reference to pear-shaped man, but he's got pear-shaped. He gets he gets pear-shaped man at the end, and he's okay with like having his consciousness blend with somebody else's consciousness. But who's on the Mount Rushmore? I mean, it would be like some sort of warmonging fascist, right? So it would be something like, I'm sure if it was George, it'd be like they redid Mount Rushmore, and it's like Nixon and Reagan or something on there, something like that would be. But I'm trying to think of who, there'd be a couple more after that who drove America even more war to lead to the war with the Soviet Union in that story. Do you think George R. R. Martin ever toyed with the idea of extraterrestrial celestial beings for the lore of A Song of Ice and Fire, dragons, red comet, Danes, etc.? I think probably, but I mean, I would argue that if we're going with like this idea of all of these things in the past, like take the sand ship, like do we have any evidence that the sand ship is? I don't know if like I would say celestial beings is not George's style, but if we're talking extraterrestrial beings, either like aliens, like there's this big joke that we've all talked about, like are the children of the forest and the Weirwoods, are they actually the Harangan mines? Is the sand ship some of their spaceships and stuff like that? And specifically Dawn. People haven't asked me about Dawn before and what I think Dawn is, but Dawn, I am fairly convinced Dawn is something in the same realm as there's this story that George wrote with Lisa Tuttle called Windhaven. And Windhaven takes place on this planet where, again, they were more futuristic in the past, and they took their interstellar solar sail spaceship and they came to a planet, and then they lost that technology or it crashed. But the solar sails, they cut up, and they used the solar sails because the planet is very windy. They couldn't really use planes or helicopters or anything like that. And so in order to send mail to each other, they have these people started strapping the solar sails to their arms, and they would fly from island to island to deliver messages. Windhaven is pretty important. You should all read it sometime. It has the Eyrie, it has Sorella, it has it has Val, it has lots of things that are ice and fire in there. It has pretty much the Citadel, it has the Great Council. There's a fucking Great Council in it. Okay, this is like, it's a big deal. But these solar these near indestructible solar sails like are being used to deliver mail around the planet. I think when they say like rumors is that Dawn was found in the heart of like a shooting falling star. What probably was, it was probably a satellite or a ship, a spaceship, and there was some sort of energy rod or solar sail or something that was light and durable and had a lot of power and energy to it, and so you turn that into a sword, and then all of a sudden you hit somebody and they're like getting shocked with all of this power, and they're losing their battle. I think it's probably something like that, like the solar sails of Windhaven. Like Dawn is probably that. It's probably some sort of spacefaring level of technology that's stuck in that's been crafted into a sword. We're specifically told it falls from the sky. You can say, oh, it's the the middle of a shooting star, like that's stupid. Like there's no reason that that metal would be so fucking great, you know, and it wouldn't be milk glass in color. Um, I mean, it's yeah, come on, you know, like so. I would say, yeah, that he probably meant it to be um, some sort of technologically advanced, like you know, society's like thing. Probably dual use. Probably wasn't a sword because why would people be carrying around swords? You know, this isn't Star Wars. But and fuck, I mean, what does Thundar the Barbarian have? What's his sword? Bringing back Thundar. What's Thundar's sword from? Did he just steal that from? I'm gonna look up Thundar the Barbarian's sword. I think it comes out like a lightsaber. The Sun Sword. The Sun Sword is a magical weapon used by Thundar. It's made of pure energy and can cut through most materials with ease. Can deflect energy blasts. Both technological and magical. It can be ignited and extinguished by mental commands. Its only known weakness is negative lightning. Okay, yeah. Who knows? Something like that. But yeah, I mean, the Red Comet. George has I mean, in the first story of Tough Voyaging, there's a comet that keeps coming around, and it turns out to be um, a genetic engineering like spaceship that Tough uses, and it keeps sending down genetically engineered viruses and monsters until they like figure out what it is. But yeah, I mean, of course, like George loves that stuff, so I think it's probably all in there, or you know, or just let's see here. Have you watched Succession? It's fucking scintillant. I watched the first season of Succession, and I mean, it was good. It was really good. I liked it, but it was, you know, I got the point of it. You know, I was like, okay, I got it. This is a good show. I understand. I don't know if I wanted to continue on 5 seasons of it. Like, I'm just like, I get it. All these characters are great. Like, that's great. I got the point. You know, it's a lot of effort to like watch the rest. And now now that the ending is spoiled for me, so I don't know if I want to go through like the story. Like, it seems like it would be a lot of the same. You know, it was really good, but you know, how much more of the same do I want to go on with it? You know, everybody says it's great. I get it. I watched the first season. I got it. But, you know, there's a lot of things to watch. And I'm like, should I, you know, don't, you know, have I gotten the point of the story at that point? Do you think there are giant weirwood roots under the sea? Could sea dragons be long snake-like roots? Could they be called to the surface for blood? Oh, I've never thought of this. I mean, that's impressive. I mean, I understand where you're going with it, you know. With this idea of these with the blood, and you know, would they be able to like change continent and go underneath? I mean, kind of weirwood, like, can the roots really like pierce through stone and go that low and go into the mantle and stuff like that? That's gotta be that's a hard sell. Or do they even can they be just be floating in the water, but ocean currents and stuff? Can they deal with the pressure and cold of being that low? I mean, we don't see any weirwoods on the other side of the in Essos. We see, you know, the trees that make the ink for the House of Black and White and such. We see equivalent things, but I don't know if there's a, you'd think that if the roots did go under, we'd see weirwoods popping up here and there. And we don't see any roots that big, like the size. Like we don't even see a root the size of, say, a human torso. We see roots the size of roots. So I don't know. I'm going to say that I don't think that the roots are necessarily the sea dragon could be a root. I mean, it's an interesting idea that especially in when you think of like Men of Greywater Station and like the entire planet being one telepathic organism, like the moss has taken over the whole planet. Like, could the weirwoods have done the same thing, like taking roots all the way through, like all like under the mantle, under the water? If we saw weirwoods above the ground in Essos, maybe, maybe, but. Mm, 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 mm. I've had random songs in my head today, and I have no idea why. Like, I have no idea why, like, the Dixie Chicks Goodbye Earl is in my head today. No fucking clue why. I never even listened to them, really. All of a sudden, I'm just like, Earl had to die. No, 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 no. Goodbye, Earl. Many thanks for making the fanfic prep playlist. Oh no, thank you. There's a lot of stuff in there, and if people are interested in going back and looking at it, it's but it's funny because a lot of the stuff is different. Like you make the prep, and you and then you get submissions, and people have good ideas, and you change your mind on stuff, and stuff happens during editing and stuff like that. But at least the going overs are in the same place and stuff like that. So, but yeah, thank you. Why is Preston hating on the Red Keep and the twins? How big is the twin? Like, how long is the twins? I mean, the twins standing at High Curtain Wall. I mean, obviously, like, even River Run is like a ridiculous castle, but I'm trying to think of the twins have held the crossing for 600 years. They had a wood bridge before. I'm just wondering how impressive is the bridge. Do they say how many miles or leagues it is? I'm just saying it might not be that impressive of a bridge. We might just be like like right. I understand like Game of Thrones has their portrayal of it, but like what if it's not? What if the bridge isn't that long? How far is it across? How long is the twins crossing. I mean, it's really, by the way, like I've gone over like how dumb the twins is, but um, like this is an incredible bridge, and they're choosing to build it there so that specifically Seaguard can get taxed. I mean, nobody else is going to be using it. I can't find anything on how long this bridge is. So I'm just gonna say that maybe the bridge is like 20 feet. You know, we have no idea. We have now as for the Red Keep, yeah, the Red Keep it's pretty unrealistic. How elaborate the Red Keep is, and very unrealistic how fast they built it. Same with like, but okay. Are idiots running the government, or is there any sense to looking at trade deficits and tariffs country that don't buy as much from us as we buy from them? No, these people are idiots. They're idiots. So trade deficits are a function of the value of your currency, and then like what you're buying, and whether you have a service-based economy or whether you have a resource-based economy and things like this. But, would tariffs fix a trade deficit? No, probably not, because people always reciprocate, the tariffs. So no, like they're absolutely idiots. They're like and not only the fact that like, you have to ask yourself, like, why do you fucking care about a trade deficit? Like, people have been obsessed with these trade deficits forever. And it's like, who cares if you have a trade deficit? Like, explain to me. And of course, I know the answer because I've studied this. But like, explain why a trade deficit is bad. I, for example, when I'm living in America, have a massive trade deficit with Chipotle. I buy so much from Chipotle and they buy nothing from me. Chipotle buys 0 things from me, but I buy fucking burrito bowls all goddamn day. Now, do you want me to like go in and like impose tariffs on Chipotle and be like, look, Chipotle, if you try to buy anything from me, it's fucking 50% tariff. Chipotle would be like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to jack up the price. You want me to jack up the price of burrito bowls 50%? Go for it. Who's hurting here? They're still not buying anything from me, and now my burrito bowls cost more. Like, there's no harm in a trade deficit. America was having trade deficits for fucking decades, and you know what? America was fucking rich. This thing is everyone's like, oh god, like Trump going around saying like the world's ripping us off. We're the fucking richest country in the world. Like, what? It looks like the system's going great for us. It's fucking going great for most, like, I would say most Americans. Yes, most Americans it's going great for. Not all Americans, I understand. But like, as if the rest of the world is somehow like rich and America's not. It's the other fucking way around. Like, it's so fucking dumb. But you just, but yes, there's idiots running the fucking government, okay? Idiots, absolute idiots. Like, even Elon Musk, as stupid as Elon Musk is like, what are we doing here? Like, we should have free trade. Yes, we should. There's just, oh God. It's a way of looking like how Trump and people that think like him like look at the world and relationships and economics is just off. Like, this thing is like take the, him being a billionaire. Like, he's a billionaire and yet he's sitting around going, oh my God, everyone is fucking mooching off me, and he's angry. He can't be happy that he has fucking billions of dollars. He's obsessed with the idea that somebody else is cheating him. And it's like, dude, like America is wealthy and we're not being cheated. We just have a fucking trade deficit with some countries. That's it. Who cares? Who cares if you have a trade deficit? How is the trade deficit hurting you? This is this thing that people never understand. Like, yeah, being in, because they're thinking about it in terms of like, well, you know, I'm in debt. Like being in debt is bad, isn't it? You know, like, okay, so having a deficit, all deficits must be bad. No. Like I say, I have a massive trade deficit with Chipotle. They have not bought a fucking thing. It's hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars like of my trade deficit with Chipotle. Oh my God. They haven't fucking bought a thing from me. You know? Like, Trump is so dumb. It's so dumb. And this is the dumbest depression that we're heading towards. Dumbest depression. Oh, like, it's one of those things. Like, do you think we'd be in this fucking stupid situation if Kamala Harris were president? No, everything would be fucking great. But no, you know, I'm sorry that she was black and a woman. You know, I'm sorry, everybody. Sorry that we almost had like a really good president, you know. Isn't the sand ship Numeria's when she ran from the Valyrians? If the Royan had giant ships like that, it makes me wonder how they lost their conflict. I don't think there's any reference to the sand ship being Numeria's. Numeria had 10,000 ships. 10,000 small ships. There's no reference to the sand ship being Numeria's. House Martell lived in the sand ship before Numeria came. Yeah, that's it. That's about it. There's no the Martells were already there, already living in the sand ship. Numeria took 10,000 ships, 10,000 smaller ships. I mean, if she had a fucking ship like that, who knows what she would be doing? She wouldn't be losing to the Valerians. But no. The sand ship is not Numeria's. Do you have any fun ideas on Sir Wynton Stout? I would find it hilarious if he's 90% survived guy through the whole story. I am actually I'll try to get it out this week, but it might be next week. I'm trying to get out the Melisandre fanfic call, and I mentioned Sir Wynton Stout in it. Sir Wynton Stout, by people, if you don't know, Sir Wynton Stout is this really old guy in the Night's Watch, and he was left in charge of the wall when Bowen Marsh and everybody left in a Storm of Swords. And so when Jon arrives and Donald Noy is leading, it's because Winston Stout forgot that he was in charge. And so Donald Noy is just like, I'm in charge. It's fine. And so Winston Stout, like, he's still around, which is why I'm going to mention in the story that, like, so I'm doing the chapter call. Essentially, like, the Night's Watch is currently being run by who's left of the Night's Watch. I'm going to have him be let's see. I'm just making sure I'm having Omer of the Kingswood be kind of like, I'm trying, I was thinking through, like, okay, if the mutineers lost, and who in the Night's Watch would be the natural leader of the Night's Watch that everyone would immediately go, oh yeah, I'm following him. Like, you might say Iron Emmett, he's not there. You might say Dolores said he's not there. Like so you got to go through like who's there and who would people naturally be like, oh, you're our leader. Would it be Satin? Would it be Sweet Donald Hill? And so I went through it and I was just like, yeah, it's probably going to be somebody old and experienced, and it's probably, Ulmer of the Kingswood. So, but of course, like if just as a little joke and a side thing, I was like, oh, all of a sudden Sir Winston Stout like remembers that he's like, wait a minute, I'm in charge. And it's like, everybody's like, no, you're not. No, you're not. But yeah, no, I mean, he's not mentioned in A Dance with Dragons, but Sir Winston Stout should be still Sir Winton Stout should be still alive. He's just chilling. He's just hanging out. We have no news that he died. Thoughts on the theory that they're crashing the economy on purpose so the rich can buy stocks at lower prices to gain more wealth. This is one of the better conspiracy theories. So there's a couple conspiracy theories on like people trying to like figure out why he's crashing the economy. One of the weirder ones is that like they want to somehow change interest rates to refinance the debt, and it's like none of that makes sense because you can't refinance treasury bills, but okay, and treasury bills have a short cycle. But anyway, the more easy to understand conspiracy theory is that they're all shorting the market. That he announces that they're going to do. They announce that he has an investor that's going out and shorting the market. He then announces that there's going to be a crash in the stock market, and then he makes a bunch of money, and then he says, just kidding, and then the stock market goes back up, and then he says, oh, I'm going to announce tariffs again, and then the stock market crashes, and then he goes, just kidding, and it comes back, and all that. The thing with this theory, which, it does seem like we're trying to find some sort of method to the madness, because it's absolute fucking madness. People do watch this kind of stuff. And if it does happen, like if he is doing that and you see like a massive increase in Trump's wealth or people that are investing with Trump, it'll probably come out in a news story. So we'll see if it comes out in a news story, but it makes a lot of sense. They're shorting the market and are just doing this to make money. Because why else are they being so fucking stupid? However, Trump did claim he was going to do these tariffs when he was running. He's been kind of pro-tariff his entire life, stupidly. So, it might be that he's just fucking dumb and he really does believe the tariffs. There's another story that like he thinks everyone's going to flip out and they're going to have some big trade accord at Mar-a-Lago, and he'll go down in history of having these Mar-a-Lago accords and stuff like that. Like I say, it's searching for a lot of method in the madness. You have to remember that he is really, really, really fucking stupid. I understand you're like, oh, why has he been so successful? Because we're dumber, like society is dumber. But like, he's really fucking stupid. If he's shorting the market, yeah, I mean, somebody will probably catch it because they'll see the investment movements, like major investment movements, especially if you're talking like hundreds of millions of dollars, that kind of investment movement, like shorting the stock on like the day before Liberation Day, and then having. So we'll see. I'm not saying that like he's not doing it, but if he is, it's going to come out. And then I don't know if there's any consequences to that. We might just be like, oh, well. It seems evident that humanity is in regression since an apocalypse, but What is the take on basically no technological advancement since Aegon's conquest? I mean, it seems like no technological advancement for uh, thousands of years. I think if one were going to make the argument on no technological advancement, it would be like the "and seven times never kill man" explanation that in that story the pyramids were telepathically keeping everybody down. But the problem is that like the werewoods aren't everywhere, even though they've been retconned back into many places. They're not everywhere, and they're certainly not everywhere around the world. Um, so it is really weird that there's not much technological advancement. Now, it goes, especially for like 8,000 years. Now, there is some theories that the timeline of 8,000 years is ridiculous and that really we should only be going back as far as the Andal invasion. And that, really we're talking like, something like whatever, 4,000 years is really the situation, because that's where we have history and stuff like that. Like we have no idea if it's there's a fairly good theory that the Andals caused the long night and all sorts of stuff that there was not. And this extending out of time of thousands of years and things like that is just ridiculous. So still though, thousands of years, like, you could say, okay, our own Middle Ages was 1,000 years, but there was lots of advancement in that time. But can we talk about like 4,000 years of non-advancement? Like that's pretty ridiculous. What's going on? So is it the trees? Is it time traveling Bran? Like what's holding people back? But that's a problem in a lot of fantasy stories, isn't it? Like that things are existing for thousands of years and they're still fucking doing nights and I mean, an economist would argue that there's no way the feudalism structure would last that long. Like you just can't. That just wouldn't be working. I mean, I guess okay, maybe long winters, like some extremely long winter, like just knocks society back. Like every few hundred years, there's just a really long winter of like 10 years, and everybody just fucking dies off, and they just don't get any technological advancement. Like maybe the uneven seasons. You can maybe blame the uneven seasons on keeping technological progress back, something like that. I mean, that's the thing. Your answers are either like, one, this is a fantasy book and people just stay in fantasy mode forever because it's a fantasy book, which very probable answer, but not very satisfying. Okay. Then there's like telepathic mode from something keeping people back. And then there's like maybe the uneven seasons are causing everybody to fucking just not get anywhere. We're so close, and then 10-year winter. Fuck. I couldn't everything's lost. But it's true, there's no technological advancement since Aegon's conquest, probably earlier. What's keeping us back? Incest, crime, and doom. Yeah, maybe. Oh, Thundar, it is known the moon. I wonder if George watched Thundar the Barbarian, because he's like, the big thing about Thunder the Barbarian is that the moon is cracked in half, right? So that how like moon is egg Khaleesi, maybe. Oh, when did the Scorpions for shooting? Right. Why, hello, hello. What's happening? Let me add.
Is it okay if I hop on?
Oh,
I saw
sure.
the
Let me add
title of
a
the stream and I was curious.
let me add a new camera overlay for you. There we go.
Hey.
Yay! We got Trey here. How are things going?
Oh, things are going all right. Yeah, it was just it's been a low key week. It's been good. We've been talking a lot. We talked like
I
2 days ago and
I
yesterday.
know. So Trey, I have a very big video. I won't spoil it, but I have a big video that I'm posting this week of me and Trey talking about something big from my past, a secret from my past that I'm revealing, and we talk about it for a couple hours. Um, so it should be a very interesting video. But that'll be out this week.
Oh, heck yeah, heck yeah.
Yeah. Um, so yes, scorpions. I think scorpions. I mean, they're kind of retconned back in there, but yeah, the Dornish started using scorpions um, during the invasion. The young dragon. I mean, I imagine Aegon they were used against Aegon, but then why didn't the Roynish and everybody else use them back in on Essos? Yeah, I don't know. Because
I think in real life the scorpions were existed during like the Roman Empire and stuff, like right?
oh yeah, yeah. How did
So
Casterly
we'd
Rock get all its gold? I mean, didn't it just mine it? They have all those mines. Uh, we do get into a little bit of the mining technology. I think there's some anachronistic mining technology that exists in Westeros, but um, nonetheless, Casterly Rock
do they have
seems to
mine
have gotten all their mines. Yeah,
do they have mine carts in Westeros? Because
I've never heard them mention mine carts. This is I know. There's not mine carts because then you'd need like train tracks. Like how to do train
yeah, like
tracks.
rails. Yeah.
Um, but in the this comes up, and it's been a long time now since we wrote the prologue. But in the prologue, there is a long thing about flooded mines and being able to drain the water, and it being impossible based on their like level of technology, and uh, based on like real history about mines and stuff. But um, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess they're. I think it's about like if your mine is subterranean versus like if you're mining like horizontally into a mountain, that's a lot different than mining like down, right? So
Hmm.
I think there's like pressure aspects and things like that. Um, yeah. So what's been going on, Trey? What's new? What's new this weekend?
Oh, nothing much. Nothing much. I've been doing chores around the house and stuff and cleaning up. It's like I'm in between videos, so I'm waiting kind of. So yeah, yeah, it's good.
All right. All right.
How about
Yeah.
you?
Um, I rocked an Easter egg hunt today.
Oh,
Um,
heck yeah.
I had to take my kids to an Easter egg hunt, and I'm trying to remember if I did anything. What I did yesterday. Just kind of you take care of these kids, and it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time. I mean, my kid drew Pokeballs on pieces of paper, and then we were trying to throw the pieces of paper on little plastic Pokemon guys to capture them. I did that. Um, my boy refused to go to the pool for a long time, and he was just kind of like, but he was wearing like a black T-shirt and black pants, and he's like 5, but everybody's like he's like such a goth kid. He's like refusing to go in the water, but he's like wearing a black shirt, black pants, moping around. That's my fucking weekend. Um, watching Rogue One and then Andor like crazy. Cassian murders a man in Rogue One, like straight up kills him, making him almost a stormtrooper. Like, huh? It's been a long time since I've seen Rogue One. I watched it in the theater and I have not watched it since. So maybe there's
I
a
remember the
lot.
scene.
Yeah.
he kills him in cold blood. Like he's like I think they're about to get caught, and then he just like kills the guy like to not spill information and stuff. Like he's very like utilitarian. He's like, yeah, this guy needs to die so I don't get caught.
Is that guy? Is he a rebel? Who is he?
He's like I think he was a guy that he was getting information about the Death Star plans from or something like that. Like I don't know if he
Oh,
was a rebel, but he was like somebody helping him or like they were making some kind of deal. And then like there were like stormtroopers coming in and he's like they were trying to like escape and he's like, I should kill this guy. This guy's just gonna hold me back.
yeah.
It's
Okay.
pretty
Okay.
it's very dark. It's super dark. It's like one of the first things that happens in the movie too.
Huh. Well, now we know like where Andor is going. I mean, as a character. I mean, I wonder if they're going to explore that because I'm nervous. I mean, Andor season 1 was so good, and there's no way that Andor season 2 is going to be as good. I just know it. But like, is it still going to be okay? Are they going to somehow ruin it? I don't know.
I hope it's good because like the first season is so strong. Oh my gosh,
Oh my
like the
gosh.
prison episode and
Oh
the heist
God.
stuff.
Andy
Like oh my
Serkis,
god.
like I can't swim. Like, oh, breaking my heart. Breaking my heart,
Or
golly.
like the stuff where like they dangle like the freedom right in front of them to like conform and stuff, and then like he like
Yeah.
flips. He's like, we're not conforming anymore. Like I don't know. Like I thought that and just seeing like the bureaucracy of everything. Like
Oh
I
yeah,
love
I
Andor.
love
Andor is
like
so good.
I love, and like I even love like the villain's like mom that he visits and stuff, and like she's like so mom.
She's like George Costanza's mom. She's like,
Yeah.
ow.
So it works. And like the weird how he's got this weird lust after the imperial officer, and stuff like that. Like it's great.
Or his buddy, like the other security guard that like he like bonds with. He's like, yeah, I also really care about following orders too. You're doing the right thing. And then like, oh my gosh, it's so good. It's so good.
It's so good. Like
Oh
the loser fascist.
yeah, yeah. They're like they're like janitors and like they're fascist janitors. I love it. Oh. And yeah, we'll see. I'm excited to see the villain from Rogue One, the director Krennic. Like, I'm excited to see him back. I like that actor. So
Yeah, yeah, no, he's great. He didn't he play the did you watch any of the Marvel series? Did you watch um
ooh, did not.
he's in, unfortunately this was the worst Marvel series, but Secret Invasion. He's in Secret Invasion, and he
Secret
plays one of
Invasion's the thing with
he
Amelia
plays
Clark,
a
right?
Skrull, and he's like a really great actor, but Secret Invasion's horrible. But it's just yeah. Um. Oh, Stannis gonna die when his sword breaks on him. I don't know how I'm gonna kill Stannis off. I mean, obviously everybody has to die at some point, so I don't know exactly. But actually, I'm
No,
coming
Stannis
now.
is making it to the end.
I have I
He's
have
he's
I
gonna be
have
in the small council.
no, 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 no. I've got some really good ideas on where I'm taking Mel and Asha
Hmm.
and Stannis, and I think I kind of know how he's gonna die, but but
Off screen, off screen with the sword stuff on the tree where they took the other takes.
maybe off screen. If it's depends if it's like stronger for
Has
him
to
to
be
die off
fulfilling. Yeah,
screen.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's just I mean, I somebody would find his dead body if he was going to die,
Hmm.
or something, or maybe he's going to march on as a zombie. I don't know. Isn't that something? You know. But man, see, when's Andor season 2 come out?
Oh, let's see. Should be soon, right? Into our
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
season.
It says it returns in
May,
April. No, May.
April 22nd. It says. Wow,
Like,
real soon.
man, it's been a long time since I've been like excited, like really excited about a show, man. Um, but I don't, yeah, I mean, is Stannis' sword gonna break? Probably. I've got some good ideas on it. Um,
So does Lightbringer actually work as a physical sword, or is it just like a prop? Like, has he used it as like a weapon before? I guess he killed. Is he beheaded somebody using Lightbringer?
I have him in the fanfic, um, but
Has he used
like
it in the
in the
show?
Asha chapter, he uses it, but in the fanfic. But I'm trying to think if he actually cuts it, uses it at any point.
He pulls it out of the mother's breast in Clash of King, and then it's on
Yeah,
fire or whatever. Uh, he pulls it on Brenly, but he doesn't use it. Does he never use the sword for real?
that's funny that it could just break.
Yeah, I've not seen any mention of Lightbringer actually being used in combat. That's so funny.
I
Oh my
wonder
god.
what makes it actually glow, like what makes all the light come out. You know, have we ever,
It's a fluorescent bulb. It's like it's just gonna
besides
shatter.
magic, like what's causing it to like do a bunch of light, the glamour
Hmm.
on it, like who's doing that? Just, what kind of technology has Mel taken from from Essos, made a sword with? If Mel burns Shireen thinking Stannis is dead, do you think he might kill himself when he learns? I would simplify the Northern plot if he dies and it fits his morality, since he would feel responsible.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know if I've gotten that far. Like, again, I don't want to spoil like what I have planned for Mel, and I mean, I've kind of already spoiled with people that like, okay, I think Asha is going to be claiming that she's carrying Stannis's child, and using that in some point. We've got a lot of point of views. We've got Asha, Davos, Theon, and Mel all mucking up, and Bran too, all mucking around the North. So some people need to die. Okay, some people need to die. So I'm gonna be killing at least one of those people, whether it be Mel, Asha, Davos, or Theon. So I think that you know we'll see. Some good stuff. I've got some good stuff planned. I don't want to give it I don't want to give it all away. But I don't know if I'm committed to Shireen burning. I think this story might be more interesting without Shireen burning, and people being like, let's put this princess on the throne, or is she going to be queen or whatever. I think it's kind of interesting, like the story going to the point where it's like everybody's got a bunch of children that they're that they're all putting on the throne or
I
whatever.
love the idea of Justin Massey being like him going on that errand to Essos and just like legitimate, like everybody thinks Justin Massey's gonna betray Stannis, but he's like the most loyal guy. He actually
Yeah, and
cares.
he's just like, "Fuck, I'm gonna get all these cell swords for Shireen." I'm like,
All
"All
ten
right,
thousand. He like needs 10,000. How many cell swords does Stannis ask for? He's like a
yeah, it
ridiculous
was
number.
10,000. Yeah, yeah,
Oh
some
my god.
impossible number." It's like, good job, Massey. I mean, that's just yeah. I mean, so everything about it, it's like so um you can go down the rabbit hole, and which I certainly did with the North, and certainly did with, like, you can go to Can't Use's like website and like read all of his essays. And when you start going with the logic, you're like, wouldn't Stannis, this incredibly good general, think about this? And doesn't that mean that this must be part of his plan and stuff like that? And you kind of go, yes, well, that all makes sense. That all makes sense. And then you get to a point where you're like, wow, like, this is really complicated, and I'm well beyond what I think George actually thought of, because I think like not every, like George isn't is incapable of writing like something so logical. Like at some point he's just fucking, he is just writing, and he's writing on the fly. He's writing very fast, especially those chapters in the North. So, you know, I don't know. I I would love a big Stannis master plan. And it's like I'm putting a lot of that in the fanfic, but At some point, though, um, do I think Shireen getting burned fits into that? And do I think, I don't know, how does Stannis feel about Shireen getting burned? Um, I don't know. I don't know.
Mm.
Hmm. I mean, he feels really guilty about Renly. Hmm. Have we had enough development where it would seem organic that he would kill Shireen? I
I
don't know.
like I'm thinking of like thematically, like Stannis was almost about to kill Edric Storm, so like
Mhm.
I guess it could be like him now, like now that he killed his own child as opposed
Yeah.
to somebody else's kid, like Robert's kid. I don't know. There's
Yeah.
something there, but yeah, I don't know how you do it, make it work.
You need some more time with it because I mean, you think about Edric Storm, that was several chapters like building up to
Mm.
that, and him being like, "I would have never done that to Edric Storm." So how many chapters do you got? How many chapters do you got of him like mulling over Shireen? Um, your Dawn idea made me think of something George R. R. Martin purists will hate. George drops many plots. That's true. Could he have forgotten his early interregnum? Is there less evidence of forgotten technology in the later books?
Ah. So I missed some of this. Is this talking about the regression of technology that
Yeah.
ancient
So,
times
I
was
brought up
like,
obviously you got the wall and Storm's End, and then you've got Qarth, the walls being backwards and things like that. But again, like George makes mistakes because sandstone and granite wouldn't be you wouldn't have sandstone and granite in the same place, like unless they're imported. Why you
hmm.
imported granite? I don't know. Like no one would do that. Like it's just, but so he does obviously makes mistakes, but it does seem that there's so many instances of past technology being advanced that it doesn't seem to be a mistake. And I'm trying to think like, okay, you start with Storm's End, which is mainly Clash of Kings. Qarth, which is mainly Clash of Kings. The Wall is Game of Thrones. Um, and then you start thinking of like these really impressive feats, and then do they become less
I'm thinking of
evident?
like the mouth in the wall, the
Yeah,
white face.
the
Does that
mouth wall,
count?
that's Storm of Swords. The Sand Ship is from A Feast for Crows,
Mm.
and then the World of Ice and Fire has a whole bunch of stuff. So I
Yeah.
mean, the World of Ice and Fire comes out after everything, and
You got Naga's bones and stuff
yeah,
too.
Naga's Bones. Um, but the fact that he like signed off on, even if that was a lot of Elio, like he signed off. Oh, you know what? He had the all that description of Old Town is his from
The black stone base and
yeah, stuff
stuff.
like that. So I think he keeps doing it, especially if you're considering that the World of Ice and Fire comes out after everything. So I think that he's doubled down on it. But still, like, is he going to? The big question I was asking is, yes, there's this aspect of the setting of it being a post-apocalyptic world, a regressed technology world. But is it going to be relevant to the plot? Because it had no bearing on the plot of the show,
God,
right?
I hope not. See, the show didn't talk about like the seasons and stuff.
Right. They
Like, what
didn't. They
was the
didn't.
deal
They
there?
didn't cover the seasons at all.
It
Or I
has
mean,
to.
they also didn't cover
It
the time
has to.
travel or the fucking. There's a lot of big things they didn't cover. Or
It
like,
has to. It has to explain the seasons. Like,
you
it
think the
has
seasons had
to.
like at minimum the seasons have to be explained
It
again.
has to. I think the season, because like the World of Ice and Fire book specifically mentions that there's stories about how the seasons were not always this way,
Yeah.
and that there once were normal seasons, which I think is like him seeding. I don't know. That's a little seed of like that. It's going to be explained at some point.
Yeah.
Has to be, because there's like that's the thing about Westeros is that like it's stuck in the Middle Ages for 10,000 years or however long. It has to, and
Right,
that's
but
what's
is it just
holding
going to
them
be
back.
something dumb? Like the minute you kill off the others, like the seasons just revert back, and you're like they're
I
done,
hate
and you're like,
that.
well, wait, what? Then how were the others doing that? magic, you know, like
No,
it could be as simple as that.
no,
Kill off the others
no,
and the seasons
please,
go back to normal.
please, please. I don't need the shadow, because that's the thing is when Game of Thrones ended, I was like, oh no, nothing was explained. And then as time's gone on, like where you guys read that like Amazon synopsis or whatever,
Mhm.
and you're like, oh my god, was
Yeah,
the
that like
show really George
that
this whole time?
Asa really was supposed to go to the Dreadfort and try to rescue Theon. Yeah, that really was going to happen.
I hate it. I hate it. If George doesn't explain the seasons, if the White Walkers just die without any explanation of like what they wanted, who they were, and stuff, that's awful. That's awful. Like that. This is going to be disappointing no matter what.
What is the resolution that the story of a Song of Ice and Fire is aiming for? Mm. Um,
Feudalism going away.
yeah, that's a real question. I mean, the show just their resolution was this is a great story and stories beat death, and that's all you need, right? They Armageddon ragged it. Though Trey admitted to me that he's read everything from George except for the Armageddon rag.
Maybe I need to read it. Maybe I need to read it to fully understand George. But I don't know. I get that. I've read the synopsis of Armageddon Rag and stuff. And I know what happens just from diffusion, and it doesn't sound super interesting to me. Is the thing.
It's fine. It's fine. Let me see if I can.
The resolution of the story. Like
Yeah,
I think thematically, it's like Westeros has been stuck in hereditary rulership is bad, feudalism's
yeah.
bad, and that needs to be abolished by the end of the story.
So my little idea on so you know how at the end of Fever Dream the epilogue like fast forwards like a
Oh
number
yeah.
of years. So I was thinking that like okay if I like I was playing around with an epilogue in my head on Ice and Fire, and the epilogue takes place from the POV of Paris Frey, like 1,000 years in the future, and she's attending like the Citadel at like Gulltown or something, you know, like, and and so she's like a woman who's enrolling at the Citadel at Old Town, and you know whatever I mean not at Old Town at Gulltown, and she's like you know it's just like her, and you get to hear about what the world's like and how there's you know equal rights and whatever
You're
and
gonna vote in
how
the next election? What do you
yeah you're
think
gonna vote
of
in the next
President?
election
Yeah,
right
yeah.
right and that you find out that there's citadels in every major city and like everybody is really focused on and that they've like planted weirwoods everywhere or something and there's like balance of nature like some like really like but you'd have to make it somehow sad and bittersweet like the ending of Armageddon Rag. There had to be something where it's like they
Mm.
remember all the people that died or something but you know, and that there's advancements now in medicine and whatever. But you know, it's a little too happy, right? Like to have
Yeah,
something like
yeah,
that. So I don't know, like
yeah.
if the Paris Frey ending would be good. There has to be something else, like
It has
on
to be kind of like creepy, like Seven Times Never Kill Man, like how that ends with like the balance is restored
Mhm.
in nature, but it's in like this kind of macabre, kind of weird way, I guess. Like,
Yeah,
uh,
that's a really yeah. Like the balance is going to be restored with you executing all of your children and then starving until you're like your population is incredibly small and like that's it. You're like so weird. It's like really sad. That's a really sad ending. I don't know if that's bittersweet as bitter. Oh,
well, they have the seer, whatever, the female Jane Shi that
hmm
she escaped.
she
There's like hope
escapes.
for the future
Right, and
maybe.
it's true that like not all the Steel Angels are gonna die out. They're just gonna become primitive. They're gonna become like Janshi. They're gonna become
Yeah.
primitive. You know That's it.
Like when I think of like the conflict of A Song of Ice and Fire, it's like there's expansionist like war, like
Mm-hmm.
there's war constantly, there's violence constantly, like violence has to, and then like consumption, like all the nature is getting destroyed and mammoths are going extinct or whatever, children, like that needs to be solved somehow, and needs to be, I don't know,
Yeah, yeah.
hippie resolution.
Thank you, Isaac.
Oh, nice.
Chipotle can't stockpile weapons to use against you. I mean, this idea like China's going to develop like regardless of what we do. Like we can't stop China from developing. Like so the the question is like how are you going to handle like China? Like do you now you can do it through diplomacy and try to get China to open up, try to get China to embrace more democracy and things like that. You can um or you can, maybe you're a war kind of guy and you want to go to nuclear war with China. But tariffs aren't going to fucking stop China. Okay? Like tariffs aren't going to do it. China's going to trade with everybody else and we're going to get poor and they're going to get rich. So I don't see this is I don't know if you were here for my Chipotle thing because I was just like why like everybody's like trade deficit and I'm like why are trade deficits bad? And it's like I have a massive trade deficit with Chipotle. Yeah, we have a big trade deficit with China. Like okay, who cares? Who cares? Like China, that means China relies on us to buy their stuff. And they buy a lot of stuff from us. Like that means there's probably not going to be war between us. Like trade between us actually helps ensure peace. When you like China stockpiling weapons, like it doesn't increase the chances of war. Like the trade doesn't increase the chances of war. The trade decreases the chances of war. So it's just like it's a silly kind of comment to make. Like, what does trade? How do tariffs somehow stop China from stockpiling weapons? Like they don't. They don't. It's people kind of like this is like the I remember after right after 9/11, The Onion posted an article which was woman bakes America flag cake because she doesn't know what else to do. And it's just like it's not helping. You just baked a cake. Like that's all you did. Like tariffs just try to explain it out to me. Like explain it out. Like how does a tariff stop China? How? Like China trades with lots of people. Like China's developing no matter what. Trading with them and having diplomatic relations with them, that leads to peace and positive change with China. Like tariffs don't achieve that, So Team Cadoba. Trump is eliminating income inequality by making everyone poor. I don't even know. I don't think that's going to work out. How will the penguins to survive the tariffs? You've heard the penguin situation, right?
Yeah, that one of the countries that he put a tariff on is like some random island that has no people living on it.
Yeah. Now remember, my son has like a massive love of penguins. So like when this came up in his earshot, he's like, "Wait, what are they doing to the penguins?" And I was like, "No, it's nothing. It's nothing. Yeah, don't worry. Like, don't worry." I mean, a very bad man wants to put tariffs on penguins. Putin showed he can wreck the economy to blackmail the industry into submission, or more or less selective relief. It's a collapsed democracy tool. This is the thing that like I'm not saying that Trump is a Russian asset, but I will say he's acting exactly how a Russian asset would act, right? Like he is trying to destroy America as fast as possible and destroy Ukraine as fast as possible and destroy the alliances between America and NATO as fast as possible. I can't see, like, he's doing better. He's more Manchurian candidate than a Manchurian candidate would be. Because a Manchurian candidate would probably be like more discreet. He'd probably go
Discreet, yeah.
slower,
No,
right?
he's doing it all at once. He's
Do
doing
it
the
all at
shotgun
once,
approach.
right?
That's crazy.
Duncan Little will be the Goat Knights watchhead. Yeah, I had Duncan Little die. So so Duncan Little dead in the fanfic. He got killed at the during the mutiny. So so this is why it's Ulmer of the Kingswood, because yeah, Duncan Little might be Duncan Little would almost be too logical, because then like the Northmen at the wall would be like, yeah, Duncan Little, good job, Duncan Little.
I like how Olma's still alive. Good on Olma.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
survived so much.
Have you watched Avatar TV show? You watch with your kids? I have not watched Avatar. Not the old cartoon, not the new one. I mean, I've seen like one episode of the old cartoon. I've seen the M. Night Shyamalan movie. So
Oh my God.
I think I've got it all down, right? Right? Got it all down.
You watch that, yeah. That's just as good as any of the other ones.
That's right, right? That's the one. That's the good one.
That's the one with the penis hairdo. You remember penis hairdo? It's like there's a single shot of that movie where there's an actress in her hair. You see her hair from behind, and it looks like like a penis. Yeah.
Let me see this.
Just type in Avatar penis hairdo. What's Carmine saying? Thank you, Carmine.
Remember penis hair? Oh my gosh, you're so right. But hold on. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, this is actually from the cartoon though.
Really? What?
So here it is in the movie. Okay. But here's the thing.
Is it oh God.
Yeah. This is some Berserk with the boys. There it is.
Oh, that's a different character, but you're right. Oh my God.
I mean, no one would have drawn this and not thought of this. Like, obviously when they drew this, they were thinking of penis, right? Like, no one would have drawn this. No artist would have been like, yes, I'm going to have like this long like white shaft with like, our penis helm, and then it's spewing fire at the top or whatever. Like obviously they threw that in the Avatar cartoon, but here they threw it in the movie too. This one the cartoon looks more like a penis than the cartoon. Man. Okay, well there it is. These are different characters, because it's like this. It looks like the same.
Yeah, these are different characters.
I guess this is Ice Kingdom and this is Fire Kingdom.
Yeah.
Okay. Man, oh man.
random. Sorry.
Tariffs exist because Trump wanted anti-China economic policy and asked Kush, who Googled Navarro's book. That's it. Stupid. Okay, yes, I've heard this story. So apparently, he went to that this Peter Navarro was his economic advisor from his first term, and he had asked Kushner for someone that supported his tariff policy, and so he found this economist, and the guy wrote this book called The Death of China, and in the book he keeps citing a PhD economist, but the PhD economist is named like it's like a fake person. It's like Ron. It's Ron Varro or something. It's like an anagram of Navarro, and he's just quoting a fake economist that doesn't work. Yeah, this is the book. And that he just like, and that in it they just he keeps quoting this fake economist, Ron Varro.
And it's himself.
Yeah, and it's himself. Yeah.
That is so stupid.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's the thing is people are so dumb. And we're all paying for it. We're all paying for it. I mean, we as a nation are dumb because we did this to ourselves. Like we all fucking knew how dumb it was.
Well, what's the argument for giving tariffs to like literally every single country in the world? Like I don't understand why do that.
I mean, Bernie is big on tariffs. I think it's a weakness of Bernie. So like almost all economists like agree that like that tariffs lead to deadweight loss. Like there's no reason for them. Like people used to use them in a protectionist sense because if you had like in the short term, there can be hurt because if you remove the tariffs, certain industries that are now going to have to compete on an international level. But eventually, over time, you develop your comparative advantage, and you're going to start producing things that you're best at, and somebody else is going to start producing things that they're best at, and it all works out, and it's more efficient. And so, I mean, you can go the other way and say like, well, if tariffs are so great, and seriously, if you can say if tariffs are so great, why don't we have tariffs between the states? You know, but of course not, because like that would be stupid. Like no, like we want trade. Like why would you create trade barriers? So no, I think one of Bernie's greatest weaknesses is the fact that that he went claiming, but like he spent all this time on the TPP thing and like, hello, Carmine.
Oh my god, Carmine's profile.
Have you seen the cope and the bullshit and the twist they're trying to do now with Trump and the tariffs? They're trying to preserve his legacy by saying it's not Trump's fault for the tariffs; it's his advisors who are mainly at fault. Have you seen the new twist?
Oh no, I have not.
Yeah, Trump is following his advisors who are giving him bad advice. So therefore, God Emperor Trump is not really doing this; it's his advisors' fault.
So when I lived in China, everyone was insanely pro Mao. Obviously, they're taught to worship Mao. But then you kind of say like, but you all admit that the Great Leap Forward was a horrible idea, and the anti-rightist campaign was a horrible idea, and the Great Leap Forward was a horrible idea. Like you get that, right? And they're like, oh, but that was when he was old and senile. And I'm like, wasn't that old? Like he wasn't.
They're gonna do the same thing. Like, they're gonna do the same thing with this motherfucker.
Oh,
someone was trying to say, well, yeah, the tariffs are good, and then someone said, well, why is he not putting tariffs on Russia? Well, you know, Russia has like a full embargo, and they've already got. Well, so does Iran, but he tariffed Iran. They shut up immediately. There's nothing to say. There's nothing to say. Come on, man. He is bought and paid for. Hello, Trey. Hello, Trey.
Hi, Carmine.
Hello.
Oh man. On fire like Thoros snaps and breaks like snaps like barracks. Yeah, I mean, there's this idea that if it's covered in wildfire, that a sword could weaken in something. The legendary Mark G 171 is here. He said that Stannis brought Lightbringer to the Blackwater, and it served him no better than a common sword. So the idea is that he actually fought.
He fought.
He fought some dudes at the Blackwater. Killed some dudes.
Okay. You know? Okay.
So
it works.
Yeah. So I imagine he probably fought at the wall as well, as he says. So
it's just weird. It's not mentioned. Like he cut this guy in two with his glowing sword.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that would just be too awesome. because you think this is one of the lines that I bring up in the fanfic is that so people mention that like in olden times, a lot of times like the kings would be on the front lines, and everyone's like, oh, isn't that super dangerous to have kings on the front lines? And it's like, well, he's on the front lines, but he's surrounded by like a lot of like the best fighters, and so in reality, no one's getting close to him, right? It's not that big a deal, or But I do wonder like who they're letting get close to him, like if they like. The knights are fighting and they're like, which guy do we think Stannis can take? Okay, we'll let that guy like run forward and have Stannis kill him. Because everybody's going to want to kill the king. But who do they let get close to the king to actually have him kill? What is the change you and Trey would be most excited to see happen to the story if you did the fanfic starting from the 5-year gap instead of wins? Oh man,
it's a very hard one.
It's weird because obviously if I had started after A Storm of Swords, I don't think I would have had the creativity to do the feast dance explosion of the universe, what I saw called the dark energy expansion of the universe that happens at an accelerating rate onto its heat death. But the thing is, I don't think George really meant to either. It kind of happened by accident. George's expansion, like
with the mega prologue and stuff.
Yeah, the mega prologue. Like, he started with the mega prologue being like, well, what are the Ironborn and the Dornish doing? And then we'll just deal with that. And then it just kept growing. And he's like, fuck it. Now the Dornish and the Ironborn are the whole fucking story.
Yeah, that's the thing is if we were writing like starting at the end of Swords, like you would have never gotten Victarion or Euron or anything or Asha.
Right.
Like
all the things gold. I love it. And I love it.
Like
I love
gold.
his new stuff. But I'm thinking like, okay.
The White Walker, I'd have the White Walker show up a little sooner. As opposed
absolutely.
to not at all. Yeah, as opposed to like it's they've done jack all since the Fist of the First.
I mean, they they attack, some whites attack Bran. That's what you can kind of say.
That was like 5. That was like 5 of them.
We hear about Tormund talking about how they're picking people off of his people.
Oh, sure.
That's about it. Okay.
Dead things in the wood, dead things in the water.
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
I don't know.
So
I know it like I think back to like reading Game of Thrones, and you're like, oh, they're coming, like they're here.
Oh my god, yeah.
Oh
my god,
later.
we got to deal with this now. What's going on?
Yeah.
Because in Game of Thrones, you have the others, and then you have the white attack on Mormont, and then they're like, "We're going north of the Wall," and you're like, "Woohoo! this story's going someplace." And then Clash of Kings, they hold their dicks in Clash of Kings, and then you get it back. Storm of Swords, you're like, "They're okay, they're back," and then that's about it. But
I want to know like the route of the White Walkers and stuff. Like, okay, like where were they in the prologue? They're at the Fist of the First Men, of course. Like, if you could map them out, and if they're like trail and the north of the Wall is just like they keep on going backwards and then going forwards. And
I
stuff.
think it's. I mean, for the most part, I think because Waymar's band stopped at Craster's Keep, and so you could argue that they're not that far from the Fist of the First Men. And that they ran into the others, considering that the others need to travel to Craster's Keep to pick up their babies, that they went right into the fucking others' highway. And then when they went to the Fist of the First Men, they went into the fucking others' highway. Like, like that the others were actually only in this small area, but then they're at Hardhome. So I don't know. So then they're all of a sudden at fucking Hardhomes, which is nowhere near there. But you could argue that like the others were in a very small specific area, kind of near Craster's Keep, like north of Craster's Keep, Fist of the First Men, and you know, what you get, you know, it was Night's Watch's fault for getting in the way. But then they're at Hardhome, so I don't know. So you could say here, like, so all of this, like, I remember those early, like, you can read these on the So Spake Martins, but like after Storm came out, when people are like, oh, what's the next book going to be like, you know, and he's like, I have no idea. And somebody recommends like, oh, you should maybe do a Cersei chapter. A Cersei point of view would be awesome. And he's like, that sounds like a good idea. And then he did a fucking Cersei point of view. And then he was like, and then he added the Brienne point of view. And he's like, there's only going to be 2 new points of view, Cersei and Brienne. But then we have the mega prologue. So you start thinking about it like that. And it's like where it went. Like you're like, this is supposed to be a sequel to A Storm of Swords. And it's like, none of the characters. New. Sam.
Well,
Arya.
Well, would you even have made Cersei, like, having Cersei as a point of view and having her be like cuckoo crazy, and like, would people even know to do that too, coming off a Storm?
Right. No, because I think he goes through so much trouble repairing Cersei. Like you start out thinking Cersei's so evil, and then you find out she didn't kill Jon Arryn. Oh, okay. Well, what about, you know? And she was against throwing Bran from the tower, and
the cat's paw. She had
nothing to do with the cat's paw. Oh, okay. So maybe Cersei isn't so bad. And then you read Feast, and you're like, fuck. Right? You could totally pass Cersei off as a, you know, somewhat normal character, besides fucking your brother.
Yeah, once you get in her head, you're like, man, woo. Yeah. And so, like, would we even know to do that? Even though that's gold, that's like the best part about Storm is like,
and I think so much. I mean, I think the Ironborn and the Dornish are gold too, but it's like none of this is sequel to Storm of Swords. Where you're like, okay, you're like, sit you down, and you go, Trey. I mean, the only thing that's like hinted at, I mean, is Arya, Brienne, like those stories. Like Arya kind of goes where you think Arya should go. Right? She's getting trained. Brienne is going where she's searching for Sansa, I suppose. She's not getting very far. But and she's dealing with Lady Stoneheart. So at least which was brought up in A Feast for Crows. So at least we got Brienne and Arya like sequeling A Storm of Swords. But Sam, like, going to Old Town, that comes out of fucking nowhere. You're like, what do we got to do with the Sam story next? Let's put him on a boat to Old Town.
For the entire book.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah,
I would, I would have had Sam arrive at Old Town sooner, probably. I wouldn't even know to put Sam in Old Town, so I guess not.
I mean, so you know, Brienne. I guess I would have had Brienne find Sansa, like based on like what happened. But she does deal with, and then have Jaime find Lady Stoneheart, or Jaime find Sansa and Brienne find Lady Stoneheart. I wouldn't have been like, you know what needs to be wrapped up, guys. You know, the Bracken Blackwood.
The siege.
Yeah, the siege of River Run, you know, which could have been done. You know the joke about like this season could have been email. Like the siege of River Run could have been done off page. Like
could have been just a letter that somebody gets.
Right. You didn't need Jaime talking to Lancel. You didn't need like the Holy 100. You didn't need the siege of River Run. All that's great if it's leading somewhere else that I don't know, someplace fantastic, but it's not a sequel to Storm of Swords. Like, I'm not.
I'm interested. Would you have Dany leaving Marine? Like, would you have her like packing up to leave? Because I guess, but the thing is, at the end of Storm, she makes the decision to stay. She that's an explicit thing that she does.
Mm-hmm.
So you wouldn't have her repair her character.
Right, that,
probably.
like,
You'd have her be evil.
If you're not going to 5-year gap, Yeah, I mean, I think I would go through some struggle like she had, and then she like leaves Marine like at the end.
Hmm.
Like, and then she sees it as a big mistake and a regret or something. Like, I fucked up this city, but you know what? Maybe I'm not going to fuck up with Westeros. You know, but instead she goes back to the Dothraki Sea and she's still lingering. Like, she could have been like, I fucked this place up and now I'm going to go to Westeros and somehow try not to fuck up again. You know,
Please tell me Dario is still king of Marine in this version.
Yeah. Right. Peace
is that what you're going to do with the fanfic? Is he going to be king of Marine?
I don't even know if he's alive. I don't even know if he's alive. I haven't like.
Oh wait, I remember.
Yeah, remember we left him at the we left him like knocked out of the chariot, like totally fucked up with a huge with a direwolf like bearing down on him. Like, I have no idea.
Can I tell Trey your original? I loved your original idea for Dario and Tyrion. Can I tell the audience?
What's that? Yeah,
your original idea. So Preston came to me. He goes, I don't know what to do with Dario. Here's the version I have, and it's the version where Tyrion frees him from his chains, and he's running out of the tent, and he like says something smarmy to Tyrion, and as he's about to turn, boom, a direwolf attacks and kills him right on the spot, and the chapter ends with Tyrion say, I just got to be faster than you.
Right. So in that fanfic chapter, Tyrion has the key to his manacles, and he considers whether he should unlock it for him. And he's like, well, if I unlock it, he can run from me. And so he lies and says that I don't have the key in the fanfic. And so the original idea is that when they are all knocked out of the chariot and need to run to the door, Dario is manacled and he's going to get eaten by the werewolf, and they can all run faster. And so it was just it was that joke. I just need to run faster than you. And in going through it, we like changed it and made it a little more a lot more optimistic. But what happens? Like, Dario is just sitting there manacled as a direwolf is like coming down on him, and it's like, I kind of just want him like disappear and no one knows what happens to him. You know, so that's more George, right? Like, just
oh my god.
Yeah. But it would be more dramatic if somehow he manages to survive with a lot of scratches and whatnot, and he comes through the door just as Tyrion and Dany are getting along, and then he tells Dany that Tyrion left him for dead. So,
right. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is the idea is that it's going to cause a major rift between Tyrion and Dany, like what he did to Dario, you know? But
I'm trying to think like what should happen to Marine, who should be in charge in the fan, or even just in the story in general, like what happens to Marine besides Dany just moving on.
Resnack bitches.
Like, I'm thinking like who do we even know that's like still alive? Like, God. Like, I don't even know. Resnack.
Whoever you choose to stay behind in Marine, that's the character you get rid of. That's the character you can't find anything to do. That's the one you leave behind as like an emissary of Daenerys to keep the peace.
In all realism, I think it would be left as a mystery. Like, the idea is she's taking the Dothraki, so they're leaving with like the people that make slaves, and so they kind of understand that like the slave trade is over. But you kind of been like, well, who's going to rule you? And it's like, well, that's, it's like, that's our destiny to figure out, not your destiny. That the Myronese get to decide.
It's not your decision to make.
We don't know.
It's not your choice. It's not your decision
to make. Oh, that's very hopeful, actually, for the Myronese to decide their own fate. It's kind of beautiful.
And then in Dream of Spring, she gets a letter that slavery started back up. No, all right. I tried.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, if I were writing A Feast for Crows, not knowing what George did, because like I say, I love what George created, but I would have never had fucking Aegon. I would have never had,
I forgot about Aegon.
John Con and all these things. I mean, we just there's just not a sequel to A Storm of Swords in those books. So, I mean, I guess I would have gotten more. I would have probably written a lot more Bran, having him be the center of the story, and being more focused, and the others coming and things like that. John dealing with the others, and stuff like that. I don't know.
Did you see the comment in your? I think it was in your last live stream, the comment section. Dude was complaining that you were focusing way too much on your favorite characters and not really going into the characters needed where they're mostly needed. I'm trying to find it.
Oh, well, one thing that you probably would do, I would probably do, is have them visit more of the Seven Kingdoms, more locations. Like you visit
that's
Castle
true.
Rock and
Probably be more in the Westerlands
as opposed
and
to
Reach and stuff. Yeah.
As opposed to the Riverlands, like hanging out.
I got it right here. Do you mind if I read it?
So
Sure.
Yeah.
The Preston Jacobs idea, quote, let's get rid of or scale back point of views of the most beloved characters like Jon and Tyrion, and give most of the focus to the ones people don't care nearly much about, like Arianne and Hota. I really do love the fanfic, but I think this idea is patently absurd and will set you up for another feast for crows, which I will go on record as calling a bad book. Oh, automatically.
Ooh.
Well, he's wrong. He's wrong.
Automatically, he's wrong there. But he's not
Feast
wrong. This has been somewhat of a, I wouldn't say complaint, but something people have started to notice is that everyone is, gunning to get back to Jon and Tyrion and Jaime, all the characters people really want to get, Arya, all the characters people really want to get back to, but you're focusing on characters that you seem to care about more, like Arianne and Hota.
I mean, it's not it. I would say that's like it's overstated a little bit. I'm not saying it's completely wrong, but I'm saying I'm going to say it's overstated, and I'm thinking it more in the terms of like what plots has George actually set up here, and let me see here. So like when you look at what we've done, okay, it's prologue has to be a prologue, right? It's got to be somebody else. Okay, this Elaine 1 is George. Arianne 1 is George. Daenerys 1. I don't think it's unreasonable to have a Daenerys chapter. Okay, a Hota to. We do know that there has to be a Hota chapter dealing with the Hota story. Okay, so then Elaine 2. I fucking wrapped up the whole goddamn Vale story and had to move out of the fucking Vale in one goddamn chapter. Give me some props for that. Arianne 2, that's George. I had a second Hota chapter. Okay, I added one more Hota chapter. Maybe you could argue that I could have wrapped up Hota in one chapter and just had Hota die. Fine. I've got one more Hota chapter. Then I've got Battle of Steel, where I wrap up the fucking battle in 3 chapters. I think that was pretty reasonable. Forsaken is fucking George. Bravo. This is a Sam story. I think it's reasonable that I have a fucking Sam chapter, a Bran chapter. I think that's fucking reasonable that I have a Bran chapter. George Victarion, George Barristan, George Tyrion, George Barristan, George Tyrion.
Just for the meme, Preston, add another chapter there, 63, and that's just Hota 4. And just
Hota 4. I mean, adding Quentin. Okay, one could argue that we didn't need Quentin, but you needed something in between Tyrion 2 and 3. So it was either that or another fucking Barristan or another fucking Victarion chapter. So something had to be spaced in between the wrapping up of it. So I'm not even like adding more chapters there, okay? We got a Cersei. I think that's reasonable. We got our conclusion to the Battle of Fire. Then Theon. We're gonna do, and then we have Asha, conclusion of the Battle of Ice. Like, all I've been doing is concluding the 4 fucking battles and adding, like, you could only argue that, okay, I've added one more Hota chapter. Like, oh geez, goddamn Preston, how dare you add one more Hota chapter when you could have killed him off? Like, and then I'm moving on to the wall here, like in dealing with Davos and Mel. Like, and all this had to happen way before the Mercy chapter. So it's like, sorry, I can't get to Arya, but George placed that chapter a month after the Kevin epilogue. So I got to do a lot of other stuff. So and then it's getting into the trial by combats for Jaime and Cersei, which I think is all fucking reasonable. You know, I have an extra Jaime chapter leading up to his thing, but
Hey, I have
I'd
no
say-
problem with how you want to run and write your fanfiction. I'm just saying that for just every time, just be spiteful. Every time someone complains about a Hota chapter, you put
add another
one in the
Hota
docket.
chapter.
Add another Hota
I'm just
chapter.
saying that, like, I'm thinking of it more as what storylines need to be wrapped up, not hey, let's write another fucking chapter. Like, I haven't added a Brienne chapter because there hasn't been the need for a Brienne chapter because the story has been going through Jaime. You know,
That kid in the comments, he wanted you to bring back John. That's the problem here.
but we already have Mel there. You know, like what we've got. Then we're just doing Mel
I like your
chapters and
idea
John
that John-
chapters on the
I
same
like
location.
your idea that because John died, he doesn't get a point of view chapter anymore. I like that idea a lot.
Yeah, I mean, Kat doesn't get a point of view chapter, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying this has all been very reasonable. But I'll eventually do a thing on a video on like what I've learned about the Winds of Winter from writing half of the Winds of Winter, or for having the fanfic write half, because you learn a lot. You're like, holy shit, wrapping up a Feast for Crows and A Dance with Dragons is half the book. Like half the book
At a
is
fast
just fucking
pace.
wrapping up.
Yeah.
You know?
At a pace that George doesn't write in. Like
at a pace and
wrapping
like
things up.
like an unrealistic like
Style.
on George, like doing it much faster than George.
Oh fuck! You just reminded me of some. Oh, I forgot to say this on a podcast, but the Condell thing about calling George unrealistic or unreasonable. Condell is so right. I forgot at the premiere of season 8, some interview goes to George, "Why is it ending?" And then George says, "Well, I don't know. Ask Dave and Dan. I think it could have gone for at least another 12 seasons. Had it gone for 12 seasons, so 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022,
Right. It's kind of like
George
we
still
talked
didn't
about our
finish the book in
podcast. Like,
2023.
it's like the starting position that like everything George says is perfect and right, and everything George does is perfect and right, and therefore like Ryan Condell being against George is somehow the evilest man in the world. But not that I think Ryan Condell is fucking perfect. I think we laughed our fucking asses off at the second half of the House of the Dragon. I would have not gone that direction. But everybody seems to have loved... Here's the other weird thing I wanted to bring up about the Condell thing. Like, everybody's angry now about the prophecy shit, but like, that was season 1 too. It was daggers all the fucking way, all over the fucking place, right? Fucking daggers.
So this is where so believe it or not, Aegon the Conqueror coming to Westeros is actually a theory that's been in the fandom for quite some time, and I have to give credit where credit is due. Order of the Green Hand came up with this many years ago, so they're vindicated on that. All the dagger really did was make a lot of people's theories come true. And remember, if Condell got that from George, then I mean, what are you going to do? Trey, are you going to start reviewing House of the Dragon when it comes back, or at least Night of the Seven Kingdoms on your channel?
I'm probably not. My channel, I don't really do reviews on.
No, I mean, yeah, obviously I will. You know.
That's right, Trey. Come on our channels instead.
Oh yeah, I will. Yeah, of course, I'll do that. But probably not on my channel. I should probably make a second channel or something if I do something like that.
Yes, you should. Fuck it, do it, dude.
And
a channel called Tom Seven Strings theorizes that Stannis equals Captain Ahab, Davos equals Starbuck. Interesting George R. Martin allusion. Davos faced with killing his king. Guess who's Moby Dick in this situation? The others? Are the others Moby Dick?
Melisandre.
who's Mel?
Yeah, that's
Moby Dick.
Mel's Moby Dick.
I will not elaborate.
No,
I mean,
it's like when you ask George about the Plato's Republic or something. He's like,
right? He's like, I don't know what you're talking about, and I was like, I'm sorry. It's just that in Plato's Republic, that everybody was talking about violet eyes being beautiful, and I thought maybe you were talking, and you seem to think about like justice and duty and democracy and things like this, and dictatorship leading to monarchy, leading to dictatorship, leading to democracy. wrong order, but so yeah, I don't know. I mean, look, obviously, death of the author. I'm sure you can write a very nice, like paper, uh, uh, comparing them, and it would then be true, because that's how you've interpreted and seen it, and that's fine. I don't know if George probably thought about it that way.
Has George referenced Moby Dick in other works and stuff? Like, I don't really remember Moby Dick being referenced in past
Yeah, or him
works.
ever mentioning that like he liked Herman Melville as an author.
Yeah,
I've never heard him say
he
that.
loves Lovecraft. He loves like the Conan the Barbarian guy. He likes
Keats,
I don't
like
Michael Moorcock,
Keats.
a lot of Moorcock in there.
a lot of
More he likes
references, a lot of
Moorcock.
poets.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw the thing I sent you, but our friend Joker, Preston, he believes that the show is probably how George will end it. I should probably get him on to talk about it. But Joker's a big fan of Michael Moorcock, and he believes that that's probably how Dave that season 8 ending is probably not a Dave and Dan original. It's probably a George original. So
Yeah. By the way, Michael Moorcock stuff has exploded on YouTube lately. Everyone's like fucking discovered Michael Moorcock. I don't know what fucking happened. This is a guy that like, I'm like, everybody, Michael Moorcock, and they're like, who? Like, he's the. Now he's like, I've just been seeing these Michael Moorcock videos.
do you know why? It's because of 40K.
What's that?
It's because of Warhammer 40K. Warhammer 40K takes from his chaos thing.
You're right.
And
Warhammer 40K has fucking taken off so much since COVID.
It's because they keep adding, like, they keep writing new books like every 3 months and adding to the lore, and there's a bunch of 40K YouTubers, and I get it all the time in my recommendeds.
Yeah. Have you considered that the stuff from Blood Moon was George's real plan?
Blood Moon. I haven't thought about Blood Moon in 5 years.
And I need to thank you for that, because when we got you on and you looked at the Blood Moon pictures, Trey, you correctly deduced like all the Bronze Age stuff.
Oh yeah,
But Preston, you mind if I answer this one? Because I actually know the answer. So George did not want them to do Blood Moon. Infamously, in a pitch meeting, he said, "Why don't you do the Dance of the Dragons, because it has more dragons?" And this is just area that he hasn't really thought about that much. Keep in mind, the Blood Moon stuff is when HBO was leaning heavily into racial things. This was back when they wanted to do Confederate. They ended up doing Lovecraft Country. It was around the time when they did Watchmen. Blood Moon was going to have the Children of the Forest being just black people who lived in Westeros before the Andals and First Men did. And then in their war, they did some kind of like magic, and they became the creatures we see in Game of Thrones. And HBO thought that was a little too risque. But George said he didn't write much about this time frame, and that they were doing it because there was more freedom. But he was recommending they do something like Dance of Dragons.
So yeah, I guess not. It's the thing, I'm trying to think of like, was would he think that Land the Clever would ever like appear with the Starks and things like that? I don't know. GOT blurb, first line: in a world where a preternatural event messed up the seasons. That just preternatural just means supernatural. That's all it means. So so that's the thing, or beyond natural, because so he's avoiding the term supernatural because that sounds like magic. So he's
preternatural is a word that H.P. Lovecraft uses a lot in his works, which it's not necessarily magic. It's like something kind of beyond human knowledge, elder thing, gods, like alien monster stuff. So,
but like, would one consider the meteorite that hit the Earth to kill the dinosaurs preternatural because
probably
it's so
not.
beyond regular normal? It's beyond normal nature, but you wouldn't call that magic,
Yeah.
So I think it's maybe also like a more ambiguous term, like, or extreme, would you Einstein's intelligence or something is considered, you know, preternatural? I think it's just a more
This
like yeah.
with it saying a preternatural event, it makes me wonder. It makes me think like we're getting an explanation. We're getting an explanation. There's an event. That event needs to be explained, right? Like,
Right,
what
right,
was the
right.
event?
I mean, he never
I'm
explained it
coping. I'm coping really hard.
he never explained it in, well, it was just a natural, the seasons were just naturally off in Bitter
In song
Blooms.
and Bitter
Yeah.
Blooms. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so it's, well, that also like goes against the idea that it's a three body problem thing, that no, an event happened that fucked up the seasons.
Hmm.
It's not a three body problem where it's always been that way, unless a three body problem thing flew in there. Oh, here we go. Could the development issue be like the three body problem? Different three body problem question. Could the development issue be like the three body problem, where progress is reset at every civilization, ending because of knowledge lost? Yeah, I mean, that's the idea, is that like, okay, could it be because you have unnatural seasons that eventually, you're doing really well, and then there's either a big war because winter is coming and then everybody has to hide underground and you just lose shit, and then you're so based on survival that you lose your technology, which I think there's some evidence of this. I mean, if you're talking about like say the downfall of Easter Island or something, that once you're sort of, you're not in a fat period and you're struggling, you're spending less time and resources on scientific research and reading and knowledge, and spending more time on food gathering. Like, you don't have the time to have some guy sit in the Citadel with a lens tube at the sky when when every person needs to be gathering mushrooms or whatever, and so that's going to go away. So it could just be that like the uneven seasons are causing like the 8,000 years of medieval life. But still, you'd think, yeah, I guess you could come out and then there'd just be the castle again. The castle's not going anywhere. But now I'm thinking the Citadel's been around for thousands of years. That's a problem. Shouldn't the Citadel be like rebuilt all the time?
Shouldn't they be getting more knowledge building on?
Right, because now I'm like this. See, if the Citadel didn't exist, I might be on. It might be that. It might be something like that. But the problem is the Citadel has existed now for thousands of years, and has thousands of and they have history of thousands of years at the Citadel. So there should be some things in there like how to farm a certain way, and astronomy and things like that that should allow advancement. They shouldn't be losing that stuff. Unless there's like a fire at the Citadel every few years.
It's a good question. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what like causes like interregnum stuff in George's other works like that. Because you can have like the interregnum stuff, which is like a big war, right? Wipes out everything and people get disconnected and lose touch. And then also you can have like the Janshi thing where like it's a gradual waning where you revert back to more primitive technology and stuff. George likes that idea. He likes technology regressing. Like it's something he uses a lot.
He does that a lot. It's true.
What's the old dick under the
suitcase trick? What's the dick over? What's the dick? Do I know the dick under the? Are we still talking about the? Is this
penis hairdo?
The dick from Avatar?
I don't know what that means though. Dick I don't know what
the dick under the suitcase is. Suitcase. Oh, okay, wait. Is that like you've got your suitcase in front?
No, it says staircase.
Oh, staircase, not the suitcase. Dick under the
What
staircase.
is the stick under
Oh,
the
this is this
suitcase?
from Berserk with the
Berserk?
Boys.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh yeah, the dick under the suitcase
Oh,
trick. The dick under the
look at
staircase
that.
trick. Yeah.
That's a deep.
Oh, it kind of
Sour
is.
Billy's got the deep cut.
Now it's all coming together for me. I understand now. He's saying that
No, he just corrected it. Yeah, it's about Berserk. He just said it.
yeah. But like the stuff from Avatar, they come in, but it's kind of similar in that they're approaching somebody on a throne, but one person's got the dick head. But it's similar in that the guy comes in from Berserk, and the dick comes out from the staircase.
That's great, Sour Billy. That's awesome. Hmm.
Bernie never advocated for blanket tariffs. No, Bernie would be more for in tariffs being used in a protectionist sense. But like, yeah, no one's going to be as stupid as Trump is here. It's beyond stupid. No one. I mean, come on.
This next question.
Do you think Rhaegar and John Con explored each other's bodies? Love the stream, by the way. They're great while I paint. I don't think Rhaegar ever. So the thing about John Con is that he genuinely feels his love was unrequited, and like it's hurt. He's very hurt by the fact that his love was unrequited. I feel like had Rhaegar actually been physical with him, we would hear about that, and he would like it would come up. Like right now, it's like it's pathetic. Like John Con's more pathetic because he's just in love with some dude who like did not feel the same way.
Did not think of him that way,
and was just like lusting after him. Well, if they actually were like hooking up, then all of a sudden like John Con's getting led on, and that's a different story.
With the specifically with the Rhaegar John Con thing, like I think with that stuff, specifically the scene where they're on top of John Con's rooftop or something, I think that's George writing what he knows, because there's a scene very similar to that in the Mystery Night with Dunk and what's his name, Damon Blackfire, where they're both on top of a rooftop and like looking, and like he makes a move on him and stuff, and Dunk is totally clueless, like he doesn't. So like I think George, a gay guy, hit on George on a rooftop somewhere. He was totally clueless. Like that's like I think that because he's written about it twice, that a gay guy, two like a gay and a straight guy are on a rooftop, and it's like a oddly romantic moment for one of them. So I'm like, George, this happened to George back in like the 70s or something. I'm calling it.
This is the question you should ask George if you get that meeting with him, man.
George, did a gay guy come on to you on a rooftop?
Number one, hey George, about those Harangan mines, and to segue into something similar, did you get hit on a rooftop by a gay dude?
He's like, well, I was at Gen Con in 1982, and it was a great fantasy con then. And, a lot of hate on AI art is hypocritical if a smartphone photo is basically point and click. Plus, realistic AI images don't steal from artists' thoughts. I think it's like AI. My thoughts on AI is that, well, one, I think generally speaking, I think AI art is not very good looking right now. Sometimes it really amazes me, like when Carmine gave me an AI image of my book cover, the Dreams of Ghosts and Indians, in AI, created with like, but then made it real, and I was like, oh my god, that's insane. That he like took it, that he took this AI, this. I didn't have it like I hired an artist for the cover of the Dreams of Ghosts and Indians, but then he took that and he put it in an AI, and it came out like real desert, real Kaba.
Actually, ironically, it wasn't me who did it. It was this guy here, Nuke Marine. He hit me privately. And Nuke Marine sent me the realistic picture of it. I'm assuming he used AI for it.
Yeah. But I mean, I think AI in many ways is a sort of a mirror that makes us all face face ourselves. So at the beginning of this stream, like usually when I do streams, like, okay, I've got to make a thumbnail. I've got to make a thumbnail quick. So I Google something and I pop the image on. And then, so I Googled like fantasy, like futuristic fantasy with dragons. All right. And it popped up with this like futuristic city with some dragons. And I popped it in the thumbnail and I posted it. And some people are like, gross AI art. Like, what are you doing? And I was like, I didn't know it was AI art. I'm just like, I just Googled something and popped it in. And then I was like, fine, I'll switch it to the Valyria art from the World of Ice and Fire, and everyone's fine with that. But you know, it's just as much theft, right? Like, you know, like, and the weird thing is like we've entered this age where like if you guys remember, like when I first started my chapter, people were really upset about me using like images that I found on the internet. And everyone was like very angry at me. And now it's strange seeing times past, a decade later, people have kind of moved beyond it. And they're like, well, everyone just takes stuff from the internet now. Like everybody's making memes and stealing stuff and ruining people's lives. And I'm not saying any of it's right. But it's something we're kind of realizing that we're all doing it. And then AI is like, well, we're going to fucking monetize it and fucking steal everybody's art all at once, like steal the mass of everything. And now everyone can do it easily. And it's like, we were all kind of doing it before, but now it's just really easy. I mean, it's sort of like the take a penny, give a penny thing, right? From Office Space / Superman 3, right? Everyone was taking a penny and giving a penny. And then somebody comes in and it's just like, I'm going to take all the fucking pennies, you know, and do it a million times. Right. And it's like, oh, wait, this was kind of wrong. But we like every single one of us has taken an image from the internet. Right. And
so the problem with this this answer you're giving is that you're right, but because the people you're talking to aren't content creators who haven't had to go on Google and search up thumbnail and, you know, put it in and edit it, they're not going to really understand what you're saying. The AI conversation is a minefield you have to be careful of because on one hand, what Nuke is saying is correct. It's very hypocritical because we're all AI. I was trying to look for some computer parts and some of the new motherboards have AI integration in it. And I don't want that. I don't need that. But I also understand that AI has been very, very helpful. Before, years ago, I would use Fiverr and have someone on Fiverr from some other country for $2 do like a little Photoshop thing for me. Now I can easily do it on an AI website. I don't have to wait 62 hours for someone to get back to me and pay them $2 plus tax. I can just do it in 1 second on one of the websites I showed you. It's very useful. It's very helpful. Some people are going to lose their job, unfortunately, but I mean, people have been losing their jobs to automation for quite some time now. And now here comes the AI thing. It's a very awkward and minefield riddled conversation that I don't feel as though a lot of people are ready to have. But I think we can all on here agree, fuck those AI slop videos. Like that one guy, the trailer guy.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Thank goodness.
He got demonetized.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. Remember last stream Dragon Demands was celebrating it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The
remember George at like mistakenly like tweeted one, not tweeted, but put one out.
Yeah.
Where he thought it was real. I don't blame George for doing that, but that because it is on YouTube to relegate that. So
I'm just thinking about the next generation and like the holodeck, and you know how like they were just like, it was amazing that they lived on a ship where you could go into a room and create porn of anyone else on the ship and fuck that porn, like fuck that like hologram.
Which episode of Next Generation was this?
The holodeck's in a million things, but specifically they deal with it more on the nose when we first meet Barkley. Barkley has been like going on the holodeck and having romantic interludes with a fake Deanna Troy. And
That's
you know,
what
you
I
just,
was-
but like, it's weird that that was just all possible. And that was provided by their like employer. Imagine if there was a room at your job. I mean, Carmine, you don't have a job, but like, imagine there's a job for everybody else. Imagine there's a room at your job where you can go in and fuck someone that looks like your coworkers. I mean, that's just provided to you. It's fucking crazy, right? That
Do they ever
I'm gonna
address
remember-
this in,
I'm gonna
in
remember that
Star
no
Trek?
job
Do they ever
comment
go
when Elon
like?
comes for you. Just say it. When Elon comes
they
for
ever
you, I'm gonna
go,
remember
like-
that no job. Sorry, Trey.
Did they ever go? That was not cool. You shouldn't have done that.
They were
in
kind
Star
of
Trek?
angry at him, but not in any sort of like major way. And they all kind of did that. They all went onto the holodeck and had sex with holograms. Eventually, it was just kind of revealed that like that's what people did in their spare time. Which I don't know who was going in there with. I mean, I guess the computer mops it up or whatever afterwards, but
Oh.
yeah.
This guy here in your comment section, like yes, this is exactly what I'm talking about. The only good use of AI I've found is cutting background from images. Yes, that's exactly what I paid for on Fiverr years ago. And now there is a website
Really good,
that has AI that'll do it in a very, I think I showed both of you this, that'll do it in a very smart way.
Yeah.
So
I used to have to like spend time trimming things and stuff like that.
Oh, it's a pain in the ass. It's a pain in the ass. But no, like there are websites that will do. I've shown this to you before. I've also shown you the website that will remove vocals from music, so it's just the instrumental. Like it's gotten crazy good. The sad part is that now companies, these soulless corporations, are going to fire like 5 animators and hire one guy to do the job of 5 animators instead of having those 5 animators use AI together as a tool. It's just going to hire one guy and overwork them to death.
There's an AI music thing that's insane. Like you can just like go into it and say, write me a country song about Carmine and Game of Thrones, and
you mean the one I
it'll,
did?
It'll like come out with a country song that's about Carmine and Game of Thrones. It's like
I know I wrote one for you. Remember on stream live, And he, by the way, Jay, I don't know if you saw that stream. He had no chill about it. He was just not impressed at all. He was not impressed.
Preston, what do you think happens in Winterfell immediately after the Lords learn Arya has escaped? At first I was like, I hadn't, because it goes has escaped on the next line. So I was thinking it was going to be, they learn that Arya is fake. And I was like, I think they all know that Arya is fake, but now it's like, oh, the Lords, they've learned Arya has escaped.
The snow breaks open and crushes them all.
The snow breaks open in the and kills
it's like
them all.
they hear Arya's escaped.
I'm trying to think, like, I mean, besides Roose and Ramsay, who would care? Because
I guess
Roose
the idea
puts
is
Winterfell
that
on
like
lockdown, right? He puts Winterfell on lockdown, and Ramsay goes back out to because of the spear wives. They deduced what I'm thinking is Roose puts Winterfell on lockdown, no one in or out, and he sends Ramsay out to get her back and check out if there's like another attack force incoming.
Right,
because the spear wives, and you know, it has to be a collaboration with someone outside of Winterfell near.
I mean, Theon thinks Theon thinks Ramsay is coming, which is interesting because, like, you know, it's not smart for Ramsay to be kicked out of the castle, but I suppose Roose would want to kick Ramsay out of the castle. But then Ramsay needs to like come back in and murder his dad, or maybe have his boys. I mean, his boys wouldn't necessarily go with him. Maybe his boys would cause the roof to break, or maybe the roof just going to break anyway and kill everybody. Ramsay's going to come back and be like, "Huh, everyone's dead. That was lucky. That was lucky that I got sent out." I don't know if there's anything like. There's so many other things that have happened that.
What about the George chapter from John Oliver? We know that someone's coming out. Isn't one of the, who was it?
That's the phrase. That's the
Yeah.
phrase.
Well, yeah, the phrase. Well, we know that
phrase.
the phrase in the Manderleys, but you know, and Theon thinks Ramsay's coming third, that he's going to come too, but behind them. So, but I'm trying to think of like if the other lords would care or do anything. Like if they found out that Arya's escaped, they're just like, okay. Um, because the idea is that Arya gives the Boltons somewhat legitimacy because they're marrying the Lady of Winterfell, but they don't have it like they don't have like nobody left has any significant army in there except for the Boltons. The Freys are already out. The big army after the Boltons is the Freys, and they were pushed outside. And then we had 300 Manderly Knights. You got like a spattering of like the minor houses that don't have a head. You got Dustin, and we got Risewell, and
They make a point to say that Lady Dustin like has power, right? That she could convince some of the other houses to fight for her
right.
if
But
she
she was
wanted
already
to. So
upset that they were abusing Arya, so I don't think that they
yeah,
should really necessarily. It's not like Arya
it
would leave and
changes
they'd be
too
like,
much.
"Oh, the Boltons have no power anymore. They're no longer the rulers of Winterfell." Like
Yeah,
they've got all the
already leading.
swords, you know.
Yeah,
But that doesn't matter because right now Arya is gone, and the spear wife thing that they caught, that whole plot, they caught them. So that means everyone's under suspicion, and they would have to send out some of their own men to stay in line. Because if
Yeah.
Bolton is sending out his forces to find Arya, and he's sending out his own forces and Frey, be mighty suspicious if everybody else doesn't like try to help out with the situation.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they would all just like they just not a single one of them has the strength to do anything by themselves, and there's not enough of them even to do anything in a group. Um, they're like the Boltons outnumber them by too much. I don't think it changes anything. Hmm.
But the question is, what happens immediately in Winterfell after Arya's gone? I think lockdown and search party.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, but you know, they send Ramsay out, and then I mean, it's already locked down. It's already winter. They're not going anywhere. I don't know if much changes. I mean, maybe they'd search for the other, like if they haven't found Mance and the Spearwives, they would search for them. There'd be a big search. And the idea is that probably Mance is down in the crypts. If he's not skinned.
I was about to say, but the letter.
Yes. Well, the preternatural event could be seed ship smashing into the God's Eye. Yes, but I'm like, that caused the seasons to go out of whack? Like that's
yeah.
a
Tough,
weird
tough.
thing,
Explicitly can't control the weather, right?
right? Like if it were, if it were anything else, if it were
Even
the
Shadow Monster.
right shadow monsters, the werewoods, the children of the forest, like anything, any virus, um, uh, um, the diseases that they have, you know, it's like
Great
all of those
Plague.
things. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But the
That would be.
one
But what
thing,
he's saying there is that, like, I think it is really funny. Like, if it, we'd feel so vindicated if the George resolves everything by having to be a sci-fi thing, and it's explicitly like that it's like
if they find the theta on the God's Eye.
yeah, and everybody would have to be. Everyone would shut up. Everyone would stop complaining about George being not being sci-fi or whatever.
I mean, all those thetas in the fucking Game of Thrones. I was like, what are they fucking doing? Like,
Never showed up.
never went
Never
anywhere.
explained.
The thetas. Throw John kind of bone in the fanfic and let him have a singular adolescent hookup. He needs a Hawk Tua joke in there. It would be rough if he like hooks up with someone and then they get grayscale.
There's people that imply that John Con and who was the leader of the Golden Company before Miles Toyne?
Oh, Miles Toyne that they were fucking.
Yeah, that they were. Yeah, there's like one line about like he said like when he smiled at you though it none of that mattered or something. I don't know. There's people that have interpreted. I think it's kept very Like they could easily just be good friends and stuff. But there's some people that they were gay together. Yeah, John Con. Yeah, poor John Con isn't getting laid. Fell in love with a straight guy that didn't care about him.
It's everybody. Everybody in the fucking book is in love with people that don't love them back.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true.
I think it's with the line from Vicky Cristina Barcelona. Penelope Cruz says, "The only love that's romantic is unrequited." Um, isn't there a Black Mirror episode of the holodeck thing? I'm sure I haven't seen Black Mirror, but if we all had holodecks, we'd never leave the house, and then society would just fall apart.
That specific one, it has Jesse Plemons in it, and the mother from How I Met Your Mother. She's been blowing up lately, but she was in that episode specifically. It was great. It was very good.
Did technology ruin everybody's life and make it a living hell?
Jesse Plemons basically kidnaps, not really kidnaps, he scans them, and with their mind exactly how it was when he scanned them, their mind and exactly how they look like and everything is trapped in this virtual reality video game of Star Trek, and he's the captain, and he forces them to like treat him like he's William Shatner's yeah, so
and he's trapped in there forever and for an eternity. Does that happen at the end?
maybe. Watch the damn thing, Preston. Just watch the damn
It's always
thing.
every fucking plot is like they're trapped in the AI forever. They're trapped in a living hell forever.
It was a really good episode. They forced the people he scanned, his coworkers, to treat him like Kirk.
Mm-hmm. Did you know that ChatGPT loves you? For some reason, it gives the best nuanced answers to you and you alone. Seriously, it's weird how pro Preston it is.
That rock.
Yeah.
Hey Ross, can you send me an example of that? Like, send it to me in the DMs on social media, because Ross has messaged me before. Send it to me if you can. I'd like to see that. Send it to Preston.
That's weird. I'm sure it loves lots of people. I'm curious as how George uses the horns in Winds of Winter. Victarion is screwed for sure, right? I wouldn't be so fast. I mean, I would say, based on what we've seen so far in the story, do we have an example of an artifact having power? We've got Melisandre's
bracelets.
bracelet.
Bracelets.
Okay.
Lightbringer has some type of power in the sense that it can glow and stuff.
Yeah,
like that's some power,
right?
Even though it doesn't have heat.
You know, like everybody keeps thinking that these artifacts that one of these horns is going to bring down the wall or something like that, and it's like so far they've all done nothing, right? The Horn of Winter that they built up for Mance was a fake, right? You know, and then so it could be just that like the horns don't do anything. The goggles do nothing. The goggles do nothing.
What's that?
Oh, that's from Simpsons. He at one point.
Oh, when the acid comes in,
yeah, acid, he falls into the river of acid. And he's like, the goggles do nothing. So, I mean, I really like the idea that like these horns have no power at all, and that like Victarion is just like masturbating and covering it with blood and all this shit, and it doesn't do anything. He's all obsessed with it and stuff, and he's like, oh my god, like it hypnotized everybody at the King's Moot. It's like, no, like he just offered him some money, and everyone was like, great. like that was it. There's nothing special.
And especially with that horn, especially with the dragon horn, it's really set up like with the pigs, like him killing all the pigs and filling his hole with the meat.
Yeah.
There's no reason for that other than for that to come back in that.
Right, with the Chekhov's bacon. So I kind of feel like because we've got Chekhov's bacon, we have no need for the horn. And so it's just the horns do nothing. The horns do
The horns do nothing. That's great. You have Victorian, like edit Victorian in there.
Like him in the like is somebody to do that meme like the goggles, they do nothing.
The goggles do nothing.
But it'd be like
It's kind of, yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger, like, yeah, that kind of like character would be perfect for Victorian. Yeah, there we go.
and so you just go let's see. Let's see how fast I can. Let's see how fast I can do this. Like, okay, now I've got to do. I got to go to the remove background.
Wait, are you using a what? How dare you not pay someone on $5,000 or $30,000 to do this for you? What the fuck?
Let's see here. Oh, no, that didn't work very well.
What are you trying to get?
It's a Victorian's head without background.
Oh, I could have done that for you. What's what? Send me the picture on Facebook. I got you, or Discord.
I mean, it has to be like obviously Victorian, which is unfortunate.
Because nobody recognizes it. Yeah, there's no.
Like Victorian doesn't have a look, but
yeah, just send it to me. Where you send it to me?
I mean, just take the one from the wiki, or
there's like so many Victorian ones, but I got you.
I got a different one. Remove background.
You're not gonna use a Mox?
Well, that's the one I tried, and it didn't remove the background right. But that one works better. I got a different one. Download. Preview. Okay.
There he is.
It's so stupid.
The horn does nothing.
So they go, and then I can just do an overlay here, and new text overlay. The horn. And then the horns. So it's like you just gotta add like the horns. They do nothing. Ridiculous.
Oh my god.
Oh man. The horns, they do nothing. Yes. All right. All for that.
All for this like joke. Oh my god.
I meant a reflection
like
on his magical night with his prince.
So it's like a fantasy sequence, a dream sequence where he
that he's like, I mean,
kisses beautiful Rhaegar.
So like he has an unkissed scene where like he like the same as like with the with like Sansa remembers the kiss with the Hound, but he remembers a kiss from Rhaegar. Though unfortunately we weren't there from Rhaegar's perspective, so like we can't get the truth or the so.
Rhaegar must have been really freaking good. I think about this every day, that so many people were attracted to Rhaegar, like romantically, because you got like Cersei, you got Jon Con.
Yeah. Yeah, you at least like I just want somebody to be like, no, Rhaegar was not my type. That dude was the dude was, you know how like Ariane meets like that Lasono Mar or whatever, and she's like, ugh.
Like,
Lasono Mar.
This guy is not good. Not good. Yeah, but could he have a reflection? I mean, I could see like oh god, then it's like rough. Like, what if like John Con like he like one night he's thinking about Rhaegar and he masturbates with his grayscale hand.
God damn
Ugh.
it. God damn it.
um, was
It
Baelor
spreads to his
actually
penis.
was Baelor actually the first absolutist Targaryen king?
What is it?
Um, what do we mean by
What
absolutist?
do you mean? Yeah, what do you mean by absolutist?
Oh, has in a philosophical, a person who holds absolute principles in political, philosophical, or theological matters. He is a moral absolutist with little patience for shades of gray. um, so, I mean, if you're asking me personally, I think absolutism, or what you're speaking of, I think of objective morality as something imagined that doesn't exist. If you ever get into a philosophical argument with a religious person, they will try to bring you down by talking about how irrational subjective morality is. And yes, sir, subjective morality is irrational. And then they'll be like, well, that means you've got to believe in objective morality. And where do we get objective morality but from like religious code? But that's all not true, because when you actually look at their religious doctrine, one, it contradicts, and two, they pick and choose. They pick and choose. So they're being subjective. They're the ones actually like picking the morality. And so if I have to examine like Baelor's like as a character, like there's definitely going to be things that he did that are not in line with the faith of the seven, or even though he's trying to be in line so much so, you know. So I think it's he may believe himself to be that, but like there's no way to actually be absolutist, because no religion has a consistent moral code. No religion has a livable moral code. And even if it did, you're picking and choosing which ones you think are important. So everyone is a subjective. Everyone lives by subjective morality. Like no one lives by objective morality. As despite all of these people thinking they do, like they are mistaken. They are mistaken, and you know, this is just proved by like, you know, the Old Testament says not to wear blended fabrics, right? And no one cares about that, but everybody cares about. But you know, people will be all up in arms about you know, gay dudes. You know, it's just like people pick and choose. People pick and choose what they care about. So no, I don't think there's any absolutists at all anywhere. Now I don't know if George is like thinking that maybe he was, and how ridiculous it would be if there were one. I don't know. Do you think AI could mitigate randomness's law to get these regularly AIs to support bullshit requires a little more work, I'm noticing. That's the opposite of bullshit in general. Which is easier? Huh. We have to look up this law. Brandonissus.
Oh, I see it.
Coined an Italian programmer compares the considerable effort of debunking misinformation to the relative ease of creating it in the first place. Oh, interesting.
The amount of energy needed to refute bullshit is an order of magnitude bigger than needed to produce it. That's so true.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That does make sense.
Right now, it's really tough because right now AI is so bad that when I Google something, the Google gives me an answer in the AI summary at the top, it's usually wrong, or it's about 50-50, I would say. And then I've got to like check and verify it by looking at the sources below, which takes me a lot of time. But people tried to use this sort of thing for like social media, right? Where they tried to have like fact checks of what people say.
It's kind of working with Grok on Twitter. I know you're not on Twitter anymore, but it's kind of
Mm.
working because Grok, I don't know if you've used it, Trey. Grok is kind of working against Elon in a way
Mm.
by retaliating against Elon and Trump when people ask it questions. And it is getting facts correctly. And people, of course, right wingers are getting upset because it's not giving them the facts they want, the alternative facts. So, in a sense, it is kind of working.
So Grok is an AI fact check that's on Twitter.
It's just an AI that's on Twitter. Like, for example, I know the thing gets repeated all the time that Trump told people to inject themselves with bleach, and someone was like, "Okay, Grok, is this true?" And then Grok, apparently, I didn't know this. Apparently, it wasn't true that Trump said that. Someone else said that, and it got attributed to Trump. And Grok gives out websites and of like the official transcript and a video of the whole situation. So Grok will go out of its way to fact check things if you ask it to.
No, I mean I've seen the video of him saying he doesn't specifically say inject bleach, but he's like I've heard about bleaching that could perhaps be used to like kill COVID. So maybe people could look into researching like that for like injecting into a person. Like I've seen that.
I think he said disinfectants. I think that's what he said. It's
Yeah,
been so
something.
long.
Yeah. But it was specifically in a conversation of like bleach or something. But yeah, it might have been disinfectants or something. But
It
he
doesn't
didn't say
matter
bleach,
if
but he said
AI.
disinfectant.
True. It doesn't matter if AI corrects people's bullshit or not. People's willingness to believe bullshit is always going to be there. This is a cult. The right wingers are cults at the
Yeah.
cultist point. So does it really matter if AI corrects it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how, we're in this era where it doesn't matter. People will just,
For example, Trey, I hate to keep doing this. Treat, I love you, but that tweet
Uh-oh.
you put out about George being a science fiction writer, I kind of want to go back
Oh
to
yeah.
that tweet and at Grok and be like, Grok, is George a science fiction writer? And Grok back you up, and like nobody cares. People just gonna still.
well,
He
you can put it in
is. He
Grok right
is.
now. See what it
Majority of
says.
his work is science fiction, and he writes like a science fiction author. I'm dying on this hill. Okay, people didn't. We've read most of George's work, all right, and that shit. We went through the trenches, all right. We read Run to Starlight and what is the
I've
fuck are those
read
other ones?
about the cross gender genetic clone. Um,
I've read about that guy that lives in
the
a
woman's
vat and
personality
creates
being
false
downloaded
religions.
into a crystal, and her creating a cross gender clone that's going around. Okay, read the fucking story.
I know what a shed boss is. I know what a Harengen bind is. I know what a Schlema is. A Skeen. Like, all the
Fendi,
goofy sci-fi shit that have
dumb.
pertained my brain.
Oh, is Tywin bankrupting the crown the dumbest thing ever? Um, well, I mean, Trump bankrupting America is the dumbest thing ever. But like, does Tywin? I don't know if Tywin's bankrupting the crown. I don't even know if the crown. Like, the idea is that Littlefinger, right, might be bankrupting the crown. But that's for
I
his
guess he's talking about,
plan.
is he talking about the like the wedding? Like how he tells Tyrion to find money for the wedding and they're really spending a ton of money on the royal wedding.
Yeah, but it's like, didn't they? Is that just a straw? Is that the straw? I mean, it's hard to say how much these things really cost. I mean, I understand that
Yeah.
there's stories about King Henry the it's not the eighth, but like eighth spent a lot too, but I forget which one like spent a whole bunch. I guess maybe it is the eighth where he has to try to do various reforms, but because they're spending so much money. But it's really hard for to bankrupt somebody through excessive spending. Um, because the spending just it happens, and then you've got some debts and stuff, and then you deal with them. But to bankrupt America through putting up massive tariffs on everything. That's pretty bad. Pretty bad. Oh man. Okay. Coming to the end.
Try to power through these.
Head to bed. It's dark has fun with Aerys thinking it's Rhaegar. Gotta be some reason he was made hand.
We're talking about, I think, John Con.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Aerys was into, they say Aerys was into like just, he preferred the young dudes instead of the old dudes, right? That was the idea, that he was trying to get young blood in there.
Yeah.
And
he preferred people his own age.
Yeah, and that's if Rhaegar said to him, "Hey, John Conn's a good guy. I think he'd make a good hand. I think Aerys might be." Even if he was, I'm trying to think when was John Con hand?
It was recent, like it was during the war, I think, right?
So
yes, it was.
This
it was
is
like
after
briefly.
his suspicion of his son trying to overthrow him. I guess there was a reconciliation, and he's like, "Okay, my son's cool again."
Let's see. Yeah, dismissed his hand Owen Merriweather and replaced it with John Con.
And then John Con lost the Battle of the Bells, or he didn't kill Robert, and then he got replaced.
Yeah,
He got replaced.
So I guess this is after the reconciliation.
Chuckler.
So I guess it makes sense. He's just like Rhaegar's like, yeah, this guy John Con seems smart, and he's like, okay.
But I thought Mad King Aerys' idea that Rhaegar might have come to replace him was kind of valid. Doesn't Rhaegar say something to Jaime right before the Trident? When I come back, we'll talk about changing things, something like that.
That's true.
Yeah.
So he somehow like convinced his dad that they were cool, even though they weren't cool. Or George screwed up Robert's Rebellion, which of course he did.
You have no idea how much people hate when you do that. You have no idea. I say keep doing it. Just keep doing it.
What that George has like no logic with Robert's Rebellion, and it's just all over the fucking place.
That you every now and then you're like, or George screwed up. Like every
Or
now
George
and then
screwed up. I mean, it's like, oh, I hate my son, and I'm disinheriting him, and I'm making Viserys my heir. And but hey, Rhaegar, who should be my hand? Your best friend? Okay, like okay, this all fits, I'm sure. I'm sure it all fits. I know I was really convinced you were trying to overthrow me a couple years ago. And you ran off with that woman from that tournament. But maybe you're not trying to overthrow me, even though I've disinherited you and Viserys is now my heir. So and your children are disinherited. Speaking of Schwarzenegger, he should run for president and use the excuse Trump used on why he can't have a third term, just to troll Trump more. Oh, on how the president has to be. I forgot Trump's logic was on why.
Can Schwarzenegger even run if he was?
He can't because he's not natural born.
Oh, shoot!
So. Schwarzenegger, because he's originally from Austria, even though Schwarzenegger's been American for 50 years, he can't run. But I forgot the reason he gave for the saying something like oh wait, he gave a few. I'm sorry. He said that Vance could run, and then he would be vice president, and then Vance would resign and be president. So Schwarzenegger could pull the same thing. There's a question of if Schwarzenegger could be vice president, and then someone would resign, and then make Schwarzenegger president. Or there's the issue of like consecutive, if they meant consecutive terms or something.
Well, anything is possible, right? A Schwarzenegger can still do it because who's going to stop him? If the
That's
Trump
true. Who's
administration
gonna
has
stop
taught us,
him?
if the second Trump administration has taught us anything, is who's going to stop you? Who's going to do
that's
it?
true.
This is true.
All right, the last super chat. Okay, no more. We have a 9-month-old and just found out baby 2 is on the way. Any tips for the near sleepless first weeks with a newborn without neglecting our first kid? Okay, the dark answer is make sure your wife breastfeeds, and that way you never have to wake up in the middle of the night because she's the one going getting them in the middle of the night. That's the dark answer. I got that from there's a show called The Letdown, fucking hilarious Australian show. And it was, the guy's like, dude, make sure she breastfeeds. Oh my God. That'll help with your sleep. But without neglecting the first kid, see, I've never dealt with having the spacing being so close. My kids are spaced 3 years. And so, there's a lot of like the kids sleeping in your bed, right? Like the first one likes to sleep in your bed a lot. Later until you get to the second kid. The second kid, like just by nature of things, like does not get the same sort of like attention, especially with sleeping. So my second one like never would sleep in our bed like the first one did. So I don't know. I guess just luck, Like my first one wouldn't go to sleep unless someone was in the room. My second one was just like fine with it. So I don't know. You just I think with the second you're like I certainly know that I spent a lot more time with my eldest when the second one was born, because that's just the natural way of you go. So it's just like you will be dealing with the older child as the man, and the mother is going to be dealing with the younger child, and that's just like how it's going to be. Like you're going to be reading to him. You're going to be waking him up in the middle of the night if he has any problems. You're just handling it. Like you go man to man at that point, man to man defense on that point. But that's about all I can recommend. I mean, I don't know, but it also just depends on what kind of baby you're going to have. Hopefully it's a baby that sleeps. But yes. Thank you, Hodo. Is Christy Nome is the this was the Christy Nome joke on Weekend Update was so fucking funny. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh no.
SNL? They did something on her?
Weekend Update. They showed this photo and they go, Christy Nome shown here, and she's like in which looks like her trying to break a record on OnlyFans.
That's fucked up.
Right? Like, but the thing is, the first time I saw this, I thought that too, because I was just like, it's a woman. Like it was, the sexism in my head and the porn-oriented brain. You're just like, it's a woman standing around with like 30 nearly naked men. Like what are you supposed to be thinking, right? Like
it's a government official standing in front of a fucking concentration camp. That's really what it ultimately comes down to.
It is gross.
It's
gross.
By the way, I know you're bound. Before I let you go, just to let you in the audience know, did you know that we have tariffs like this every 100 years?
You're saying that the others are coming.
I'm saying we had tariffs like this in 1828, tariff of abominations, and then again in 1930, and now again in 2025.
Well, yeah, we had the. Do you know this is all from the scene from Ferris Bueller, right? You know what I'm talking about?
No.
So do you remember in Ferris Bueller, Ben Stein has a
Bueller?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So there's a scene where he specifically is talking about tariffs. And he's like, And then in the Great Depression, they passed the anyone, and he's like the Smoot-Hawley Act, which was a
Oh,
series of tariffs.
is
And
that
did
what
this
he was
work in
talking?
getting us out of the Great Depression? Anyone? No, it did not. And the United States fell deeper into the Great
Yeah.
Depression. Like it is that it's that information. Like Ben Stein is specifically telling us the effects of what tariffs do historically in that scene. It's really kind of incredible. Like the scene that's like you're supposed it's supposed to be this obscure, boring knowledge that no one should know about, and it's like, holy shit, we are here. We are here that someone didn't pay attention to Ben Stein.
I'm gonna upset you a little bit, but maybe Trump being in office is actually going to be more beneficial to the world than it is us. We in the U.S. are fucked, but
We're
Trump
fucked.
is somehow helping other countries come together. Did you see China, Japan, and South
Oh
Korea
yeah.
come together and like agree to like retaliatory tariffs like together? And like Canada's Liberal Party is like they were in the shitter and now they're like up there. Holy fuck! And Europe is coming together like never before. So Trump winning was kind of how the world heals.
Great,
Not for
great for
us,
Oh,
but
the rest of the world.
but bad for us. Yes.
You know, it's like it's like when your ex-girlfriend dumps you and you're like, isn't this great for her to go out and like find better people than you? Like,
Preston's George analogy. It's your
yeah, I
girlfriend
know.
just broke up with you, but don't worry, her new boyfriend's got a massive dick.
Ben Stein is a hardcore Republican, but
he
I'd
is.
love
He
to
doesn't
know. I
believe
mean,
in
he's not in the
evolution.
media these days, and he's crazy. Ben Stein is crazy, but like, um, he should want to know. He should at least know about free trade. I mean, even Elon said like, I don't I like this is stupid, which is which is nuts because Elon's really dumb. But oh man, I wonder if Ben Stein have a
He made a
comment on
documentary
this?
about intelligent design that I had to watch as a kid
Oh god,
about how
no.
evolution's fake. Yeah. He's like really annoying and passive aggressive in it.
What evolution? He did a document on why evolution is
Yeah,
fake. Ben
yeah.
Yeah, I
Stein.
did.
What?
Intelligent design is basically like what Christians wanted to call creationism. Like it was like to sound smart because creationism kind of sounds stupid.
Ben.
And so they're like, this is scientific. Like you had to have been created by an intelligent being. And
Right, and everybody
oh my
thought
god,
Ben
I had to
Stein's
watch
super
that.
smart. He's got his Ben Stein,
He's got his bow
win
tie
Ben
and
Stein's
stuff.
money, and so it's like, oh, all of a sudden we got this smart guy. You know,
Hated that fucking documentary. My parents made me watch that a whole bunch.
Sorry, Trey. I'm
Sorry, yeah.
Trey.
There's a yeah. It's called Expelled. Yeah, and he's like, oh, look at these scientists up in their ivory castles. Ooh, trying to kick me out by trying to tell me that I'm stupid for believing like not believing in evolution and fossils and shit. It's like shut the fuck up. And like I don't know. I'd watch so many of those types of documentaries as kids.
do you think your parents have changed over time, or do you think your parents are very I don't know, I'd say like all over the map when it comes to their religion, or what?
Nah, they're pretty stuck in it. Like I just don't talk to them about that kind of stuff anymore.
Okay.
Or like I code because I was a genetics major in anthropology, and both those things. I don't know. The evolution's very important in both those things.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like a
yeah.
fact. And so like whenever they'd ask me about my studies or when I was at college, I would use different language. Like this is what you do when you're around Christian people. You don't say evolution because that's a triggering word for them. You say like, well, adaptation or things gradually did this or something like that. You avoid the word itself because you know that once you say that word, it's like a dog whistle to them. They're like,
Huh.
I'm not gonna believe that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you said that your parents were like took your sexual preference news fairly well.
No,
No.
kind of better than some. Not as good as What does Tormund say? What does Tormund say when John's like, "You're a good guy"? Tormund Giant Slayer's like, he says, "Better than most, not as good as some." So yeah, it's my parents. It's my parents, and I
Okay.
can't. Oh
Real
no.
quick, I
All
sent
right,
you guys
all right.
on our Discord group chat because Ross asked, I believe, ChatGPT, would Preston join the Skeen hive mind from the novel A Song of Leah if given the chance? And that is what ChatGPT said. If you want to read it, go for it.
It's weird.
Do you want to read it, Preston, or you want me to read it?
What's that? Sure. How long is it? Yeah.
Go look. It's in our Discord group chat.
Okay, I gotta open up Discord.
Oh, it's not
Preston
open?
would
Trey,
join
you want to read it?
Yeah, I got it right here. Let's read this. Preston would not join the Skeen. Okay, would Preston Jacobs join the Skeen hive mind from the novel A Song for Leah if given the chance? Preston Jacobs hasn't publicly commented on Song for Leah. No, he has. He has totally commented on A Song for Leah. That's wrong. Or whether he joined the Skeen hive mind. Maybe that part, but based on his analytical style and skepticism towards surface level interpretations, it's especially his theories that reinterpret magic in A Song of Ice and Fire as science or deception, it's likely he'd approach the Skeen hive mind with some suspicion. Yeah, that's true. In A Song of Leah by George R. Martin, the hive mind represents ultimate unity and the end of loneliness, something that can be seen either deeply comforting or existentially terrifying, depending on your view of individual identity. Given Preston's interest in uncovering hidden truths and questioning dominant narratives, he might see the hive mind less as transcendence and more as a loss of self or a kind of seductive trap. That's what George feels as well in the book with his main character. If you're asking hypothetically, like, would he be tempted? Maybe. But he'd probably make a whole video exploring how the hive mind could be a metaphor for religious surrender, society conformity, and even brainwashing, then end with a shrug and but who knows?
That is overwhelming. That was ChatGPT?
That's I don't know
Ross, message me back on Discord. Is that GPT? Yes, GPT, yes.
That's absolutely overwhelming.
Is it accurate?
No, I mean it's really that's really fucking good, like well thought out. Like, I mean, not only is it like analyzing A Song for Leah, and absolutely like knocking it out of the park on like what that story represents, and then knows my profession, and like knows like what I believe, and approaches it in a sort of like nuanced, balanced way. Like, oh my god, it's like overwhelming.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. That he even knows what A Song for Leah in like a Skeen is about. Like, the themes of the story and the idea that it was a trap or it's a metaphor for religiosity and that kind of stuff.
Preston's face right now. He's like questioning, what the fuck? Like, what the
That's a story not that many people have read, right? Like,
right.
You probably
a
couple thousand or something. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to think how many people alive have read A Song for Leah. Maybe like can't be more than 10,000, right? Like,
it's probably something. Yeah, I mean, I guess it'd be 10,000 something. 10,000, maybe 20,000. Like that would be probably the. If the Dow hits 10,000, does Trump have to resign? As pressure builds, will he announce he's abolishing the Fed? He might not make it. So, I mean, I think, about like changing the Fed or putting somebody in the head of the Fed that he wants would be what he'd do first rather than abolishing the Fed. Because he'd want to Nixon did that. Nixon interfered with the Fed. Will Trump try to do that again? Maybe, but right now his popularity is plummeting quite a bit. I don't like resign. What's the Dow right now? It's 38. If it goes down to 10,000, I think if it goes down to 10,000, I don't know if he'd ever resign or they'd try to impeach him or something, or they'd pass a law saying that the tariffs are lifted or something. Like Dow hitting 10,000 is pretty. That's like end of the world kind of moment.
Oh my god.
All right, like
That's
that's straight up Great Depression. Like,
I, I hate to move back to this, but does Preston Jacobs think there is magic in the book series Song of Ice and Fire? Preston Jacobs, known for his analytical approach to the Song of Ice and Fire, has proposed that elements perceived as magic in the series may be interpreted as advanced technology or science. He suggests that the world of Westeros could be a post-apocalyptic setting where remnants of technologically advanced past are mistaken for magical phenomena. It goes into more, man. Bro, it's got your number, man. It's got you.
it does. I don't know. I don't know where it got it from. It watched my
What do you mean? You're a
videos.
YouTuber. What do you
It
mean?
watched my videos, man. Man,
I think it's because it's probably like gone through a bunch of Reddit posts where people
it's
mention
probably
and their
probably gone
ideas.
through Reddit, come through Reddit too. I mean, we can only hope that Trump has to resign at 10,000. But then does Vance do the same thing? Does he reverse course? I mean, it's probable case is that Trump is going to cave in a week or two and lift the tariffs, or lift some of the tariffs, most of the tariffs, or something like that. That'd be my guess.
he's already kind of doing that, right? Isn't he like talking to representatives of certain countries and being like, well, we're thinking about doing things and
Yeah, this is
changing,
all
like,
for a conversation. This is all for a
yeah.
conversation.
And people were like, he was a genius. He was a Giga Chad Mega Galaxy Brain
4D
decision to do them.
chess. This was just oh man,
I
such
uh,
great.
I asked I asked ChatGPT, would Carmine of Red Team Review join the scheme? It goes highly doubtful,
Probably.
at least not without serious reservations. He strikes me as the kind of guy who would resist any system that overrides individual. Really, I'm that guy. He'd be more likely to critique it than embrace it. What?
No,
Uh,
no, no,
He'd
not
probably side with
Carmen. I think
Rob
you
and
joined
walk
this
away,
team.
shaking his head about the dangers of giving into that seductive spiritual surrender. I
Yeah,
guess.
Trump will lift it and call it a win. I mean, that's what he does every time, right? No matter what he does, it's a win. You know.
It's funny that we're bringing up a song for Leah, because I went back and read like the last little bit of the story last week, because I remembered that one. Do you remember the line where it's talking about like Valkyrengi and like that he has like this wall built up in his mind, and like he cries on the other side of the wall. I don't know, just like
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
language really stuck in my brain. I read that like in college, like 5 years ago, and I could like quote that like sentence word for word. I was like,
It
oh.
was it was a really it was that his criticism of the guy, because when you're reading the story, I don't think it's like if you're reading the story, like that character doesn't come off like having that wall, but the protagonist thinks he has that wall.
Mm.
And I don't know if you're like supposed to agree with the protagonist or not, or if like you're just like the protagonist is coping, like whatever. But I know what you're talking about. He's like really
Yeah.
he's really brutal.
It was like some very like, yeah, it's George writing in a super vulnerable, like, I don't know, like there's a Song for Leah is like, especially that like latter half of it is really kind of heavy, very heavy short story.
Yeah,
Some,
yeah.
I don't know, there's some
Um,
lived experiences there.
oh, keep in mind this is like him and his youth, right? It's like 74.
Yeah, it's like one of his first short stories, right? Which is like
Yeah.
so surprising because it's so strong. Yeah, I do not envy Valkyrengi. He cries behind his wall, I think, and no one knows, not even he, and no one will ever know. And in the end, he'll always be alone in smiling pain. You're like, oh, what the, like,
Right, but it's also like, I think you're supposed to I think the reader is supposed to nod and be like, yes, men like that are like
yes,
that. But at the same time, it's such a like he doesn't even know his own pain. Like it's such a weird statement to make about somebody. Like, well, if they don't know about their own pain, like he's crying behind a wall that he doesn't even know he's crying under. Then how is he crying? Like if you're not
yeah,
aware of your own unhappiness, how are you unhappy? Like um
that's some incel George right there. That's
it
incel 70s
is.
George.
Um uh uh Oh well.
Incel 70s George. Did you see Trey? Did you see the thing that's been going on in the fandom lately about George trying to answer to women who think the Hound and Sansa is romantic and erotic? Did you
Oh,
see that?
that was weird. Yeah, I saw that. That
Uh,
is some. So first of all, what a weird ass fan. Like, what a kind of. And that he responds to that. That it's like a really
what about
like a
Sam?
fan
No one likes
of.
Sam. Devoted, smart, kind. Totally the kind of guy that would go out and buy you tampons. Like Sam is your boy, but everybody wants the Hound. Who wouldn't even
But
do
he's
that?
like he's really embarrassing and pathetic and cringe. He's very cringe. Sam is very cringe.
You don't
More
remember
so
when he
than the
put his
show one.
oh, you don't remember when he put his status as horny talking about the Shay actress?
Did he do that? Oh
Yeah, he
no,
really, I swear to God, he
George.
really did that.
Oh no, George.
Was that even a possibility? Let me see here.
What's a
Oh no,
possibility?
George.
Oh, I'm just like, because I saw that and I was like, wait, is that somebody's
What, the
art?
horny thing?
Like, did they? Yeah.
Oh, by the way, someone in my server keeps updating me on George's latest blog post. Apparently, he's gone back and changed it. He's edited that last blog post, the one from April 2nd, multiple times, but has yet to fix Winter If Coming.
I sent that to Carmine. Like I was like, isn't it hilarious? He said winter if coming. like
Winter if coming.
Again,
right? Like
like,
it's so
George
it's so
has
telling,
edited
right? Oh,
George has
winter
edited
if
that blog
coming. I
post
don't
at least
know.
he's edited that blog post at least 2 to 3 times, but he still hasn't fixed that one part. He just keeps
Babes.
changing like certain words around. I don't know why.
3. Babes.jpg.
Are you really looking for the horny one?
I was seeing how much he writes horny. He doesn't seem to write horny.
Not that often.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness. He's
Right.
a 70-year-old man. Don't want to know about that. I don't want to know about old man being horny. In my brain, you stop being horny at 50 something.
Horny Shay.
Thank you, JTM4. Thank you very much.
Someone posted on the A Song of Ice and Fire Circle Jerk. Do you think George the Shay actress ever did it? And this is the photo they've compiled.
No.
Wow. Hold on, Preston. Where can I send you
not.
this? Want me to send you on Facebook?
Sure.
Or you want me to send you on Discord? You got
to send me to Facebook. What you got?
This person has compiled. I didn't know they've been seen together this many times.
What the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Why is she at Thanksgiving with him? Why does he have a turkey?
Trey, you know why? You know the answer to that. Come on, you know why.
Oh,
Thanksgiving at George's house is phenomenal, I would imagine.
He does talk about those crazy parties in the sci-fi times. Maybe he's free.
This is Preston.
I mean, come on, this doesn't look really.
But the post is so fucking cringe. No. Excuse me, I need to go take a cold shower now. Current mood, horny. It's so fucking lame. It's so lame. It's so lame.
Oh, George. I think Preston's right that like George acts hornier than he actually is, right? Like he claims he lived this crazy life where he's sleeping around.
Well, he'll talk about like like meeting girls at the sci-fi conventions and stuff, and like come on.
And
it's
again,
just, all the sci-fi convention both girls that would be at these sci-fi conventions in the 1970s.
Maybe the sci-fi conventions where they have the best drugs. Who knows?
I mean, conventions were really small back in the day. You just like they'd be really kind of like pathetic. Now there's a whole different world. But
now that okay, I'm like outing myself. I went to like a club in DC, and I do think that like that there are places for I think you talked about this where like you had a friend that had like
You
went
went
to
to
an
an orgy,
orgy or
yeah.
something, and that
Yeah.
it was all kind of like she said that it was all ugly people and stuff, and,
Yeah, and
and
she was not yeah, she was not great.
I I
Not great
I I
looking.
can concur with
But
this.
this
Yeah.
my excuse of it was like if you're like I'm just saying that like the more my theory on this is like okay, if you are hot to begin with, you don't need that much kink. But I'm saying that like kink adds a little more spice to things. So like it's kind of
Yeah.
like having like let's say you get a tasty meal versus like a really like bland shit meal. You can make a bland shit meal like better by putting hot sauce on top of it, right? But you're not going to do that to like a great meal, right? You don't need to. The meal already tastes good, right? Why would
Yeah.
you don't need to add hot sauce on top of it. So what I'm saying is that yeah, like going to an orgy is what like ugly people need to do to like, make the situation arousing. Cuz like one ugly person is not arousing, but like 20 ugly people like all fucking
No,
each other
no,
like
no.
that's now all that's something, right?
But
That's
isn't that what those orgies with the masks are for? Because sometimes you have like
I
really
think you're
ugly
on
people.
something, Carmine, that if they're
Hey, look,
masks,
man,
yeah.
I've been onto something a couple of times, and
No,
that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not. It's so when
no,
Preston's
it's
saying
not.
that, oh, we haven't got that part of Berserk yet. Fuck, never mind. I'll save that joke for later.
No, it was all ugly. It was all ugly, and it sucked. And that's why I think maybe George's conventions were like that. It was just a way for ugly people to meet other ugly people, and maybe there was a lot going on there, but it was just stuff that we would not find sexy.
I mean, in his stories, right? They were his sci-fi stories. Every character is pretty sexually liberated.
Yeah,
You
you
know,
think
there
of
is like
Night
people are
Flyers.
like it's straight up casual sex in most of his sci-fi stories. Like people are fucking completely casually. Um, in Night Flyers, there's several couples that are fucking casually. Um, the psychologist is fucking her um, Lonnie Thorne is getting or not Lonnie Thorne. She's the tech, but he's the fuck the guy who's on the medicine that his brain explodes. He
Oh
like
well,
his
Thor
psychologist is
Lassimer.
fucking him, and they
Yeah.
talk about being sexed, and um yeah, there's like three or four hookups in that story of people just fucking casually. And then in A Song for Leah, he immediately fucks a girl the minute he leaves the planet.
Hmm.
Um, like everybody, it's all of his sci-fi stories have
Oh, and
got.
the House of the Worm. They have a bunch of orgies in that one
Oh
too.
yeah, at the beginning, she's just like, yeah, I'll go fuck the meat bringer.
The
I guess he brought the meat after all.
meat.
I didn't think about the meat bringer bringing the meat for the girl. Oh,
Oh, my God.
hmm. Oh God. How could the ancient past matter? After watching your breakdown, he doesn't have time for the candles, the ancient magic tech to play in a major way. I hope I'm wrong. It's tough for him to
You're
wrap it
right.
all up, man. It's tough for him to
He doesn't
wrap.
have time for anything.
Doesn't have time
How
for
does it
He has
anything.
matter?
to.
It mattered because remember, in his what was it? The original manuscript we got from G Staff, all the maesters of Westeros convened for this. Remember that, with the exception of Maester Lewin. Everybody else, though, not Maester Lewin.
Yeah, but it is true. He's from the sexual liberation
This is true.
generation. Like they were.
It
It's
just,
all like free love.
it just contradicts the idea he gives off of himself that he's like Sam, who's too afraid.
I mean, it's like
Yeah.
willing but not able, or
Do furries count? What are you talking about?
I
What are you
think
talking
furries is.
about?
I think that counts. Like they're looking for the kink, to make up for the.
Trey, you went to this club in DC where there's like an
What's the
orgy
kink
club.
club? Yeah.
Were you at like the? I don't want to spoil the next chapter of Berserk and the Boys. But were you like the goat in the orgy where you're like standing overhead like a king while everybody fucks in front of you, but you're not joining?
No, I was. It sucked. It sucked. I'll never go to something like that again because it was just
Aw.
a whole bunch of like it was just kind of like people show up with the people they know and they only hang out with the people they know, and you're just kind of awkwardly there. So I'm like, this sucked. And also, most people are not attractive and all that. Most people are old too. Most people are like a couple that was like in their 60s or 70s started hitting on me and stuff. They're very nice. They're very nice, but you're just like, why am I here? Why am I here? I can talk to plenty of attractive people just by going to like a bar and stuff. You're better than this, Trey. Come on. I don't know. Is what it is.
Plenty of sex clubs around the world where people are good looking. Many have selection. The thing is, look, I think there's plenty of attractive sex workers in the world. But I'm talking like for free sex where you're just having, where you're going into, the big orgy. I think, I don't know if those exist for attractive people.
Preston, click on that one. Harry Reese. That's the question for Trey right there.
There were a couple attractive people there, but it's very few and far between. And it was like me realizing that like I'm like I don't mean to be mean. I'm not that attractive. But like, your standards.
That's what I'm talking. But I'm talking about the other one. Look, Trey. Like, I'm saying that this this woman was like a 3 or a 4, and she was saying that she was one of the most attractive people at a multi-room orgy.
Oh my gosh.
Filled with hundreds of people.
Dang, so mine wasn't hundreds of people, but oh my god, yeah. It's a very similar experience to that.
Harry Reese asks you, Trey, how many Republican congressmen were there at this place?
Probably tons. Probably tons.
Hey, Preston, any recommendations on what to visit in Rio? I go to Brazil for the first time. Also, what are the biggest differences between the USA and Germany? Rio, it's, I want to say, like, I went out and just randomly ended up at some club where they were playing music, and we just danced and had a great time. But I'm sure all those clubs are different now. So I don't know where the place to go out right now is. I mean, obviously you're going to go to the beach in Rio, and the beach is beautiful. And obviously you're going to go up to see Jesus on the mountain, and that's beautiful. So you're not going to have a bad time in Rio. Like you got the beach and you got the Jesus, and I'm sure you can go out to some clubs and have a great time. If you're in Brazil though, you got to go to Foz do Iguazu. And I don't know how much time you have, but you've got to go to Foz do Iguazu. Foz do Iguazu is overwhelming. It's overwhelmingly beautiful. And I understand it's a long way to get there from Rio. It's probably a 20-hour bus ride, but like try to get there. It's so good. The biggest difference between USA and Germany, Germans take their Sundays very seriously. Americans do not. So like in Germany, everything is closed on Sunday. You guys are big into going to the park, you're getting your exercise, taking a break, taking advantage of Sunday. Americans don't do that. Americans sit around on Sunday watching TV, watching football. We go to the grocery store, we go shopping. Some people work. We do not hold Sunday to be what it is in Germany. And the other big thing is, obviously, you can't walk around in America at night. Everywhere you can walk around everywhere at night in Germany. Germans have picnics in the park at night. We can't do that unless you live way out in the country.
Why can't you do that, Preston? Tell me.
Because of crime. Because of crime, they will.
This is one of those situations where Matt Walsh will come in here and say, "Who does the crime, Preston?" he's been on something lately. And also, Germans love their bread. I've noticed this talking to German.
Oh, and German bread is incredible. It's the most incredible thing on the earth.
Love their bread.
Germans also are very big on independence for their children, and while Americans helicopter parent. In fact, if you let your kid be as free as a German kid, a police officer would probably pick them up and be like, why is this kid walking around alone? And you'd be like, oh, like, where were you? And you're just like, my kid went to the playground by himself. Like, no, that's not allowed. Like German kids like go to school by themselves, take the metro by themselves at very young ages. You know, like you'll see a 7-year-old on public transportation going to school. You would not see that in America ever, because everybody helicopter parents in America. So I mean, you know, those are some like regular, like everyday things that are very shocking to a German. Like you can't go out at night. Like you can't. You have all this shit to do on Sunday. Like kids can't be free. They're constantly like they're constantly being sent from like soccer practice to piano recital, and you're getting picked up and you're getting watched at all time. Helicopter parents. But that's yeah, it's very, very different. The Germans, how they manage life. Yeah, so I think the Germans are onto something, honestly. Okay, last one. I gotta go to bed. It's 12:30. Okay, FFC and DWD and Succession's funeral. Funeral FFC. We learn new stories about deceased. Westeros minimal cause to give conversations, though just melancholic, beautiful unfolding. I guess this is about Succession and why I should keep watching in season 2 or in 3, and but I'm not sure what DWD and FFC are.
Dance with Dragons, Feast for Crows.
Yes. Oh, Feast for Crows and A Dance with Dragons and Succession regarding funerals. Funerals, Feast for Crows. We learn new stories about the deceased. Gotcha. And cause to give conversation. Just melancholic, beautiful unfolding. It's true, but I'm trying to think, like, we get Tywin's funeral and we get Aemon's funeral. Do we get any other funerals?
We kind of get Balon's funeral. Like, it's not really a funeral, but we get his like succession of his death and people having to cope with him being gone.
I see what
like
you're
Victorian
saying.
thinks about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny how it like grows with time, right? Like, there's just nothing happened. Like, there's no funeral for Ned. You know, there's no funeral for Cat. You know, these major characters, we just kind of move on very quickly. And then, but one of the big shocks when I read Feast for Crows for the first time was like, wow, I didn't think Tywin was that big of a character to need this many chapters devoted to people talking about his death, because it goes fucking on and on and on, like the mourning of Tywin, and you compare it to, say, like the mourning of Ned's like over like that, you're just done, you know. Or even like Cat mourning Bran, like it's a few paragraphs and then she moves on to her conversation with Jaime, you know. So it is kind of funny, like how much time is given to Tywin's funeral specifically. I was like, man, there's just a lot of time spent on this character that, you know, he appears in some few chapters in Storm and at the end of Game of Thrones, but I don't know. I guess he's in. But yeah, Germans leave their kids out in the snow. Anyway, thank you everyone. Thank you Mount Aggro Crag. No funeral for Oakheart. That's true. I mean, I suppose Ariane thinks somewhat about him. Oh, they have bad autocorrects though. Anyway, thank you, Carmine. Thank you, Trey, for being with me. And
of course.
I guess you guys can all look forward to Trey and Maya's discussion this week, and see how people think about that. So look forward to that this week, and maybe later in the week we'll do a Berserk with the boys. Who knows? If you're available.
Awesome. Yeah.
Cool.
Sweet.
All right, thank you guys, and I'll see you guys later.